way to go.
I think it just started recording right now. Want me to do that?
What?
You want me to stop?
I thought it was beautiful.
I think you're fucking up the joke.
I thought it was beautiful. It was like a beautiful music.
Well, that's why we call the cat Streaky, is it not?
It's fucking... Zelda, you got a new title.
It's a very unique cat. That's why
You got a new achievement.
Hey, Looney.
very unique cat. That's
Get
why
out of
she's
the
stained
chicken.
yellow.
You got a little dog over
that little
here.
crumb.
Dog
That's all you
cat
get.
action going on over here.
Little devil.
All right, welcome back to the Popcorn Talk podcast, where we talk about media and the like. I'm here with my two best friends, the handsome cat,
Are you going to say my name right this time?
that guy,
There we go.
and then introducing my lovely wife, Prettykitty. How you doing, baby?
Good.
I'm tired. I want food. I want
Bitch, there's
sleep.
chicken right in front of you. I don't want to hear you say you want food.
Oh, it's a blessing. Oh, I'm so happy.
It's a blessing that's not in disguise for once.
I think you need glasses.
So now I need chicken and some lotion.
It's some tasty
Oh, wait.
chicken wings.
Some
That don't go there. Never mind.
Oh. It's lubricated.
Oh, yeah?
All right, so
Oh.
Kyle, would you like to rattle off the topic for the day? You seem to be on fire with these topics lately.
Today we're going to talk about what makes good horror and what makes it sell. I nominate the option of waking up to hear your sister moan like an anime girl. Thinking they're watching hentai in the living room and you come out and you notice the door's closed with the thing on the sign that says no.
M. Night Shyamalan cannot come up with a better twist.
I was thinking, hey, what's going on in here?
Oh.
See, what I thought you were going to go with was the miracle of childbirth, but, you know.
Everyone saw that video in middle school. This damn dog won't stop trying to go after the crumbs.
No, he's trying to go. She's trying to go for that hole right there.
All right, Luna, come on. You're okay. All right, sorry about that. So what horror is qualified as good horror? Like, what qualifies good horror?
Well, first off,
Realizing your sex tape got leaked by your next door neighbor and you forgot that he didn't pay you royalties.
Hey, we're not talking about She-Hulk here, dude.
Yeah,
Am I wrong?
Yeah, so that was pretty horrible.
Got me. All right. Who wants to start off?
Nope, can't get it
well,
going.
I
Yeah,
would
go
say
for
the
it.
best thing to make a horror is big titties on the screen.
Well, I mean, that's beside the point, but I think that would be that would be basically nice icing on the cake if we did.
And that's just Rob Zombie.
I mean, that's just what was it? Drive-through. Fucking
Oh, with Horny the Clown?
with Horny the Clown, yeah.
No, I was thinking.
Wait, there was no tits in that movie. Never mind.
Oh, yes, there was.
Was there?
Oh, yes, there was.
I was thinking more.
Oh no, it was a joke about them
Ow.
like making all these proclamations out. Like, have you seen your ass? Essentially, but then they never show her ass. It's like, what is this godly ass? I want to see this ass.
I was thinking more Friday the 13th remake.
Yeah, there is such a thing.
Your tits are stupendous.
Perfect nipple placement, baby. You just got perfect nipple placement, baby. Well, you just know what a girl likes to hear.
Huh?
I'm like, damn, is that what it takes?
Apparently.
Okay.
You gotta start using that line more then. I gotta start using that line more then.
Last time I used that line, Lindsay hung up on me.
Your tits are stupendous. Just like,
Click. Hello?
Oh, is it the last time you said something like that? She was like, are you drunk?
Yes.
yes, verily.
Look, that's not the point. But
Your girlfriend such a tits.
Oh my god! Shut up and go. Oh my god!
no, I don't remember what you sounded like.
Lois.
Speak to me that way, Peter.
Peter.
Oh,
Peter. Oh, I can talk to you that way.
Peter.
Yep, and all I can think of is the new one.
Brian. Talking about my mother's Brian. Quit talking about my mother's titties.
Sorry, Stewie. Again.
Sorry, Stewie. I'm in love with your mother. And, go away, doggy. Okay, should we get back on track?
I was gonna say, I think the best
Just a
one
little
for
bit.
me was just Friday the 13th.
Well, I mean,
what would make that a horror movie to you, though? What makes it scary?
you don't know who the person is until the end.
It's the same guy every movie.
She's more into like the whodunit aspect of
I
like
guess
certain horror movies.
more so the first movie.
Yeah, the first one.
Like when you get into things like
We're talking
Prom
about
Night or like
Mrs.
Black Christmas or something like that.
Mrs. Voorhees, you son of a bitch, as we know from Scream.
Malala.
You should have known that it was Jason's mother, Mrs. Voorhees, who was in the original movie.
I've seen that movie 20 goddamn times.
Jason didn't come
Obviously
until
not.
sequels.
Hey.
Yeah, don't drink my Malala. Oh, I bet I don't drink my bed.
That sounds like a chip.
No, it's got the bottle cap underneath it.
Yeah.
As it breaks when he lifts it. Huh.
Oh,
There's the liquid.
yeah. Yeah, quit.
Still apple.
Huh. But so you have not an asphyxiation, an affection towards
Hey.
the mystery aspect.
Yes.
I can see that. Like
Yeah.
it creates suspense. Like you don't know what's going to happen. You don't know his motivations. At least
I mean,
for
it's
the
kind
most
of
part, until like halfway through.
the sorority one.
There's
You're talking
sorority
about
house.
you're talking about the house on Sorority Row?
Yes, that I believe that's it, right? Huh?
Yeah.
Or Black Christmas?
No, the
I do like Black
sorority.
Christmas's reveal though. That was
The sorority
In
one
the
that was
original.
made in
Yeah, the
the
original, yeah.
was it made in the 80s?
not Jaundice Boy.
Was the sorority one made in the 80s?
I believe
There
so.
was
79 maybe.
I don't
So-
remember, but yeah, it was
The
that,
house on Sorority Row was
it was where the lady was.
mid-80s, but there was a remake in like 2009, right around the same time.
Yeah.
We don't talk about the remake.
The remake of Sorority Row wasn't bad.
It wasn't bad, but the
wasn't
story
great, but it
was. I was
wasn't
gonna say,
bad.
yeah, the story was butchered, but
It's kind of like how you like the Prom Night remake, right?
I thought it was alright.
Yeah,
Yeah,
you,
that-
you were pretty into
I'm not
it.
going to give it awards, but
Yeah. But for what it was, they could have been worse.
yeah. Plus, when I first saw it, I think I was 7th grade when I went and saw the Prom Night remake.
That's fair.
I was kind of twisted because it was my first horror movie alone, kind of thing. And then after rewatching it and getting reviews from other people, I'm like, why the fuck was I scared of this
Yeah.
retardation? I felt like they should have given you a helmet because then I rewatched the movie when it came out on disc. I was like, God damn, what's wrong with me?
Oh my gosh. But I could see some validity in like the whodunit aspect. I mean, that's a really good aspect in a lot of like thriller movies as well, and they give you anxiety like up the ass.
Now, like, are you trying to say the whodunit aspect of solely of like a slasher movie, or do you think it works well with like a thriller movie, kind of like what Pinhead is, or is it more also as well as like a paranormal movie?
Again, that kind of depends on like what you're wanting out of the movie. Like, how would you put it? Like, because you have a very specific taste. Like, you and Trevor have very specific tastes. Because you don't like gore, you don't like the violence in certain movies.
yeah, we just
Like, Scream is one of your like top 10 favorite movies.
because Trevor just my brother explained it how he liked it was he likes where it's horror movies where it doesn't have much gore and it's hidden around like objects where like you can have the imagination go wild on what happened in that photo.
So it's like the unknown. Okay.
Okay.
Because like if you saw a shadow, you saw what happened right there, and then
So she's not too keen on seeing it like straight ahead. She likes to let her mind wander, essentially.
Like,
Yeah.
Yeah,
exactly.
she's giving her opinion too.
she's like, "It sucked." Anyways,
Yeah, you're right. Scream 4 did,
She went, Charles.
Charlie.
but
It's a fucked up looking dog.
so then something.
because he's on the boat of slasher. Like that's what he's
Yeah,
on.
because I know she doesn't watch the Child's Play movies or the Chucky movies.
No, she hates Chucky.
But I mean, you yourself have seen the Child's Play films.
I like the Child's Play films.
So you think she follows more suit into what the first Child's Play was? Because you didn't really see Chucky kill many people outside of the voodoo doctor, but that was with a voodoo doll of himself. So there was not a lot of bloodshed.
So up until like watching all of the Child's Play movies, for her, I would say the first one would probably be more in line with what she likes to watch, definitely. Because you don't see a whole lot of what Chucky does until like halfway through the movie, when you reveal that Chucky doesn't have batteries in the back, and he's been talking the whole time. He just comes out, say something, I'm gonna throw you in the fire. You stupid bitch, you filthy slut, I'll teach you to fuck with me. Yeah, like that shit. Like when the reveal comes about that Chucky's alive, and then it's actually Charles Lee Ray, and the kid wasn't lying after all. I mean, I could see like anyone enjoying that twist. I mean, that's a good twist.
I knew that.
Well, with something like the remake where its technology's evil because of
But I mean,
Chinese.
it's established that like the doll moves around and everything, so that's like a different horror.
But because the Chinese made it evil, just the one guy. Honestly.
It was the one guy that killed himself at the end.
Yeah, and
in the beginning.
He was just fed up with his life, and that is kind of what I dug about the remake. Like, yes, I get the design of Chucky was atrocious.
I didn't mind it. It was okay.
Dude,
It looked like Mark Hamill, didn't it?
That retarded ass face he was making, like, I didn't know if I was watching Child's Play or the Special Olympics.
It did kind of look like Ugly Sonic, didn't it?
Fuck, Ugly Sonic made me hard, but compared to Mark Hamill's Chucky, like, I loved his voice. I loved how playful he was. He sounded inviting. It sounded innocent. The one thing above even his looks, I can forgive the looks, but he didn't laugh.
Yeah.
Chucky's unanimously known for his giggle, his cackle,
Yeah.
that Brad Dourif made famous.
I guess that's why you like the show version a lot more.
The show version is fun, but the show version almost blends more into like what Bride and Seed of Chucky went into.
Like the cheesy territory almost.
Not so much the cheesiness, like it has its moments, but it dives more into the gore aspect. Like it goes more into like Saw 4 grotesque-esque. Like I think there's a scene in the newest season around Christmas time. He hops off of a staircase with a battery-powered chainsaw and cuts somebody in half.
Okay, so are you under the impression that gore makes a horror movie? At least somewhat?
All depends on what you're trying to do. Like, if it's like a monster movie, or say like it's supposed to capture like a Wendigo movie, something.
So if it's like a beast movie like that, I'd say you need the gore in order to
at least a little bit to capture realism. Like if
exactly.
If there's a bear attack or something, I need to tell that there was a mauling.
Kind of like how Alien vs. Predator didn't necessarily work because all the violence was off screen.
But you can thank the MPAA for that.
That's fair, yeah. Because that movie was originally going to be like a fucking gore fest.
Well, I mean, think of it like how, again, Friday the 13th Part 7, what we referenced in almost the last movie, but
On the last episode of Dragon's Ball P.
It stings. Now for this episode. But, no,
On this episode, it stings more.
because the MPAA
Frieza wins.
the Motion Picture Association of America gets in the way of everything. Like with Friday the 13th Part 7, would have been one of the greatest ones they ever did because the weed whacker kill would have been more intense. The sleeping bag kill would have been more intense. You had more gore, more grotesqueness, which brought everyone to want to like the movie because that's what they expect from Jason Voorhees.
Yeah.
If it's something that you expect from a slasher, like prime example, with Halloween Ends, way too gory for a Michael Myers.
Yeah.
I expect that kill out of Jason.
Mm-hmm.
Or possibly even Freddy Krueger. What are you looking at?
There's a post that she looked up that said Miranda Cosgrove and Andrew Garfield were in Stab. They were in Stab 9.
Oh, fuck.
In the Scream movies. They were apparently playing in them, like the fake movies in the Scream universe.
All I know is...
So we're gonna have Spider-Man in this.
All I know is...
Spider-Man and Michael Jackson, great.
All I know is in Scream 9, he better be even buffer and have an even bigger metal mask.
Fuck. I mean, that was Matthew Lillard, so he got yoked.
Yeah, he rolled the nat 20.
He did. He rolled a strength check and intimidation.
See, we need the world's biggest bodybuilder to be there now.
The Rock.
No, bigger.
He's not
Bigger.
going to work.
Brock Lesnar.
Bigger. We need the world's biggest bodybuilder, not wrestler. God damn it.
Oh, what's his
My
name
mom?
from fucking The Longest Yard? The really big guy that's like just barely speaks English.
Swatowski?
Swatowski. Yeah.
Oh, I thought you heard me.
Or that, or family like Kevin Nash.
It's fucking
In
Kevin
Punisher.
Nash from The Punisher.
Yeah, family like that.
specifically from The Punisher.
Yeah.
Just get the Russian as the Scream mask.
Yeah.
Just fucking walking in all yoked.
Stab 9. I'm going to slash you.
Or like with her doing the whodunit aspect that she really likes about Scream. Or actually, I'll go back to that here in a second. But
Yeah.
continue on with the Motion Picture Association. Like, you can't really have a lot of aspect. The reason why they wanted AVP to be PG-13 was because so many people did grow up with it, and a lot of parents did show their kids the movies. And
Yeah.
it became something that could be more family oriented because at the time in 2005, so many more things could be deemed worse than an alien stabbing people with its tail or acid on the floor.
That's fair. But then, like, at the same time, are you talking about the, like, ideals of people changing over time? Or just the fact of, like, because in the original, like, movies,
I could
they
say-
made, like, toys off of that shit.
Yes.
Like, for R-rated movies that, to be honest, I wouldn't show my kids if they were, like, 5 or something like that.
Rambo, RoboCop.
Yeah,
Speak for
I was
yourself.
watching this shit.
Yeah, the
That was fun.
lunchboxes and shit. Granted, it was great. It was great.
I'll show him when he's 2 months old. Fuck you. You can't
Fuck,
tell
dude,
me.
I watched Predator when I was 3.
Was it because people could, like, associate movies with something else rather than real life?
Well, because for those movies, it's fantastical. It's
fair.
make believe. Whereas you have something like
Where they
Friday
just
the
make
thir-
spaghetti out of that one guy?
Whereas you have something like Friday the 13th where it's meant to be a dude. Or like with 2021's Mortal Kombat. They had to take a lot of that shit out or else it was going to get an X rating.
Like, you were telling me about Friday the 13th Part 8. Like, Jason Takes Manhattan, how that was fucked with royally.
Oh, dude.
It was going to be, like, one of the best parts, honestly. Like, it had so many good kills, and it may have been, like, not the best version of, like, all the movies.
No.
But it would have, like, had a lot more validity to it.
It would have been better than how it came out.
Yeah.
Because there was very little to no blood in Part 8 because of the MPAA.
Oh, okay. And that ending was, like, weird.
And
That was so the way that was framed, it was supposed to be more like a psychological thing compared to like a physical thing that they see.
Okay.
So it was more
Like, they see the child inside of him or something like that?
no, we're supposed to see that perspective, not like the characters who put them in the sewers there.
Okay, so they just see
it's
the
always
weird,
like-
like, melted face or something like that.
No, us the viewers are supposed to see him as like the kid Jason, not like the heroes also seeing him as kid Jason.
Huh.
Right? They just framed it. It's just framed really poorly.
Yeah. At least put a vignette over it or something like that. Jeez.
because
With what, like Freddy vs. Jason, and then the Dreamscape was always just like the
it was always
off-color vignetting in the
it
background.
was always either semi-blurry or you had like a pitch red or a pitch blue.
It's something like that, yeah.
Just different color light, just to indicate that it's like, yeah, this isn't the real world.
I mean, hell, like, Friday the 13th Part 1 would be rated G if the blood was, like, green or something like that.
Well, I mean, back then that was well before PG-13 even existed.
And before animal cruelty
Well,
even
PG.
existed.
It would be PG, technically.
And before animal cruelty existed, because they killed a real snake.
Yeah, they did. Fuck.
Yeah.
Forgot about that.
And for, like I said, with gore to be in a movie, it all depends on what it is. Like, if you're doing a Mortal Kombat thing, yeah, you're going to need blood and gore.
Oh, yeah. You cut that out, you cut out basically half the movie.
Welcome to Super Nintendo's version of Mortal Kombat,
Fuck.
where everything was sweat.
Sweat.
Hey, I mean, Capcom was more ballsy. You had characters fucking puking and shitting out blood when you punched them hard enough.
12 rib cages pop out of Sub-Zero once you fucking kill him.
That's more common. I was talking about Street Fighter release, and you fucking get them to puke when you punch them really hard.
Yeah.
Whereas we also live in a world where things like Saw exist, where it's basically gore porn.
Yeah. At least the first one has like a modicum of like the detective mystery and
Yeah,
everything.
the first 2, maybe 3 had a decent story that's somewhat connected, but after
I
that,
really
it's
like the
just-
first 3, and then it gets convoluted after a long period of
Then
time.
it just turns into something where
That's an example of like horror movies that get way too like pretentious with their story. I love James Wan.
It's another focus on how everyone thinks the first 2 were the best, and which is true. So they try to reconnect everything with the first 2. Like, you have to watch Saw 3 in order to understand Saw 1, but Saw 5 interludes with 2, and 4 interludes with itself, and it's before Saw 1. It's a whole convoluted horse shittery.
Yeah,
Saw is the movie version of Five Nights at Freddy's.
it is.
You cannot tell me I'm wrong.
I mean, if you look at the lore of Five Nights at Freddy's, there's like you have to play fucking part 3 to understand part 4, and then and once part 4 comes out, that's how you understand the first one, how everything fucking connects with part 16. coming out. If I can't, fucking Scott Cawthon's killing me from across the internet. Fuck.
But part 2 was way. Part 2 was way in the future before fucking part 4 came out. But then part 4 also wasn't even that far in the future compared to fucking Security Breach.
Scott Cawthon didn't know what he wanted to do. He just had to put out stories, and then he keeps on adding to the story.
And people love it.
And people love it. People eat it up.
They love it.
I don't get part 5.
Oh my god, I love it.
I don't count part 5 as like part of the initial
Which one?
lore.
Which one's that one?
Security Breach?
Isn't that the new one?
That's
The new one,
newest
yeah. I don't count that one as like part of the canon technically.
It is.
It doesn't.
What's wrong with
It doesn't feel like it. It's weird.
It is, because the one that tied in before it was the VR games, because the VR games had more of the important lore.
Do they?
That's where the Vanessa the security guard comes from.
Oh,
And
okay.
if you think that's crazy, you have to watch Willy's Wonderland to totally understand.
Willy's Wonderland is a different story, though. That one's different.
Not really.
That one's
Not really at all, dude.
Fuck. All right.
Willy's
Wasn't that one
Wonderland
supposed to
just
be the
did it
original like Five Nights at Freddy's movie?
It was.
It was
a
around the
take on
same.
it.
It was around the same time when it was rumored to get a Five Nights at Freddy's movie, and then we got Willy's Wonderland like 2 years later, or 3.
So that's another aspect. Like, how would you guys sort of frame the Five Nights at Freddy's like not movie, but the games and the movement and everything?
If
the
you're
fandom.
frame the first whole movie, in a sense, you could probably tie in like a couple games.
It'd be like a sci-fi horror or something like that.
Well, because the whole point of it is that they all take place at different locations.
yeah.
Because for the longest time, people thought it all took place in one restaurant. That's not entirely true. Each one was a different restaurant every time.
It was a franchise, right?
Yeah, it's the whole point. And the whole thing was that, like, Michael, or was it William Afton?
William Afton is the murderer. Michael
Dad.
Afton is the
son.
security guard. Yeah.
Yeah.
The son, right?
Yep.
So then the whole point was that like, he's going around tampering with electronics to actually start killing everyone. That's kind of the whole point. But again, it's only revealed like way later. It's like it's been over like multiple years, over multiple locations in different areas.
Okay, all right. I haven't
So-
looked too far into the lore. I know a little bit more than the layman, but
I can tell
I'm
you
still confused about some aspects of.
I can
Five
probably
Nights at
tell you a
Freddy's
good
that-
chunk of it since I watched a lot of lore
Yeah,
videos.
you've watched a shit ton of lore videos. You're the lore guy.
Yeah,
Fuck.
sadly enough.
It's like you know how to dive into fucking rabbit holes and gather useful information.
Mostly if I'm really interested in how it actually turns out, because I haven't.
That's fair.
If something is like super convoluted, I want to know what the fuck is this actually about.
Why did this happen? How can I make fun of it?
And then they all had an orgy.
And they all had sex.
And then they fucked.
They fucked.
It was Deus
hard.
Ex Machina all over.
Deus Ex Machina.
But yeah, no.
Deus Ex Machina.
Deus Ex Machina. But yeah, I think if you were to try to frame it that way, I think you'd have to like probably pick a couple of games to adapt it in. Because again, the whole point is like it's all just time jumps.
Yeah.
Because if you weren't gonna make a time jump movie, you end up making Willy's Wonderland again. Mm-hmm. And even then, you can't make it about a guy beating up electronics. You have to try to make it like more psychological horror.
You make like a psychological paranormal movie, essentially.
You'd have to, because that's the only way. Because the whole thing too is that it's all basically ghosts and machines.
Yeah.
Because that's the whole point of Golden Freddy is that it's literally just a ghost that your character freaks out and sees, along with like shit in the background.
Yeah. Yeah.
So yeah, either you make it to where it's multiple movies to find out like who this murder mystery is, or it's just a giant psychological horror movie.
I could get down with it if it was a psychological horror movie. I mean, did you see the casting for the new movie? How Matthew Lillard's going to be William Afton? For the actual movie, like
Oh, I haven't kept up with that because they've been saying that for the last like 7 years.
They're actually going forward with that. They're starting filming
February.
In February.
Yeah, I was saying 2022, right?
Matthew Lillard is going to be William Afton.
Or 2022.
The guy who played Stu in Scream is going to be William
So
Afton.
I think you say Stu in the fucking Rugrats.
Stu and Rugrats.
Stu Pickles.
I've lost control of my life. Sorry.
Shit, breaking stuff, guys.
I've lost control of my life.
Why are you making pudding at 3 in the morning?
I've lost control over my life. And then, what's his fucking name? Josh Hutcherson, the guy from, I don't know what movies you would have watched with him in it. Zathura. You remember Zathura?
Oh, I haven't thought of that movie in a long time.
He's the older brother.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's gonna be Michael.
Okay. Yeah, it makes sense.
Yeah, and the plot so far that they revealed, I like where it's going. Like, he's basically taking up the job to, like, I think he's paid for medical bills for his younger sister or something like that.
Something, either that or his son. I don't remember what Chris said.
So we can make that one whole podcast. We can talk about all the things with what's going to be happening in the movie and all.
I'm excited for the movie. I think it's going to be decent.
Because they can always do that instead of following the games. They could just make it a different take or like an entirely different location. That was the whole point of Sister's location too.
I'd be all over that.
But even though Sister's location
like use the same names, but you could use a different location at this time. Like you don't have to follow the games exactly.
Because that's the problem is that with the games that it's loosely tied in with with these core characters that progress the plot in some sort of fashion.
Yeah,
some sort of fashion.
But all in all, that game defined a whole lot of like fucking childhoods in general.
It's always so weird to hear that, especially when people are like, "Man, I grew up in Minecraft." It's like Minecraft was my childhood. It's like I don't understand it, but at the same time, it's like I'm old enough.
It came out like 2010 or something.
But also, I'm old enough now to understand that when I'm working at a school.
Yeah,
it's like yeah, I get it.
It's like
I grew up with Fortnite.
Five Nights at Freddy's came out in like what 2012, 2013?
I think it was 2012.
2012. I was in middle school at the time. Wait,
freshman in high school.
You had to have been freshman at then.
2012 was like eighth grade. About
going in
eighth grade going into high school. So technically, I was in middle school.
End of 8th grade, beginning of 9th grade.
I remember it was at the end when I heard about Markiplier playing it.
That was the first time I ever heard of Markiplier.
Yeah, that was the first time I ever watched Markiplier.
So the one time I heard about him was because James Franco was like, "Hey, check out this guy playing Five Nights at Freddy's," and it was
James Franco, really?
Yeah, because it was during that time when he was trying to plug in like smaller YouTubers, like so. Hey, give him a watch. He's actually not that bad.
Huh.
Yeah.
All right. And this was before Jack Black got in on the game, and he was way too cool for Markiplier.
Did one-handed gaming, y'all.
Yeah. Oh yeah, he did one-handed gaming.
That was his first video. Yeah. One-handed gaming, y'all.
What the fuck? So then he sort of lightened up for his own Jablinski Games YouTube channel that has like one video and like 20 billion fucking subscribers.
I believe it.
Yeah. But anyway, let's get back to the
20 billion. So like 3 times the amount of people in the world.
Yes.
They're all bots, wouldn't you believe?
They're all bots.
Would you believe?
It's all bots that he buys for his channel.
Would you believe he bought 9 million bucks?
10 billion pounds of ham! Sounds radical.
So back to horror movies. So getting away from Five Nights at Freddy's. We can talk about that. Cool Mundo. So we can get away from that.
All right. So what other? Actually, let's move on to Juby. What do you think makes? What do you think makes good horror?
Like what kind of horror are you into, and what makes it?
I can't talk about it. It's too scary. Honestly, I think going back to psychological horror, I think that's a good way to portray a good horror movie. Even though it's not personally my taste, I think it's a good way. For me personally, I think what's the phrase? Jeff Goldblum's Supply. What's that called? It's like body horror.
That's body horror.
Yeah, I think something like that. Like I haven't seen The Thing, but I know I hear a lot of things about The Thing, and that's one of those things. Like I think in a way where like that's
more like emotional torment. Honestly,
where you're physically showing like a practical version of like someone like mutating or doing or like this thing you really can't comprehend, and it's like it's just going to happen regardless.
Like Werewolf in London, like that was like a process that took a whole week to happen, and then you saw like the effects of his mind as that was going on, along with the mental torture of his friend being dead and haunting him while he's going through all this shit, saying like, "Hey, you're going to become a werewolf and kill a lot of people,
right?
Like within 7 days."
Because I think there's a good line between like body horror and body mutilation, right?
Yeah.
Like
again back to Saw again.
Exactly, right? It's like it's all about blood. It's like in body horror you can have blood, but it's like there's also ways to play around that, which also takes an effect like in a psychological horror.
Yeah, it's making a human like form inhuman in a certain way,
or like an inhuman thing go into a human form.
Right. Oh, like Species or something like that.
Or again, kind of like The Thing.
The Invasion of Body Snatchers or something.
Right, again, and kind of go back to The Thing, because it's like, oh, look it. Why is this dog acting weird now? Is that The Thing?
Oh, she's fucking like an expansion, like the flower that's just made out of tongues or something like that.
Yeah, right. It's like, I think body horror is a good way to make a horror film, because then it's like, it can just be anything and everything, and it could just be horror for horror's sake, and it's just like, wow, that was like some crazy visuals I just saw, right? Mm-hmm. While psychological horror, I think, also has a really good spot for it. Although I will say, again, I'm not the biggest fan of psychological horror because it just doesn't hit me the same way. Like,
it has to be really good for it to work.
well, I think what's that one movie that happened? I forget every time it was.
I mean, hell, Gerald's Game is psychological horror as well.
On, though, but it's like, I'm trying to think, what's that one movie that came? Hereditary. That movie bounced off of me so fucking hard. I thought it was funny as shit.
I mean, that's fair. That like hit a lot of people different.
I thought it was a really funny movie because the problem with that is it hits the same way, kind of like not Don't Breathe. Like what's the movie with where they're turning all the black people? They're taking like all white people, turning into black people. What's that movie called? Get Out. Get Out. Yeah. Like it hits a different way because they're already portraying it like, oh, look at. This normal dude's going to meet like these other people, and they're already kind of weird in some sort of sense. They're already kind of weird.
Like a lot of the Jordan Peele movies kind of like hit different.
Well, no. Again, it's the same. Well, again, it's the same problem with Hereditary. Where it's like, oh, look at these characters you're looking at. They're already kind of weird, kind of got their own things. Like they're not like normal. But in the sense, the movie I really like, I still don't like it. It's not my favorite horror movie, but Smile, I thought that was a fantastic movie. The way characters acted, the way characters reacted to the main character, because it's like, it's this whole different thing, because she's the only one experiencing this psychological horror thing, and everyone else is like, yeah, it's...
kind of just going along with it, they think she's crazy.
Exactly, because she's the only one being affected by it, so you can't really help support her idea, because then you're just feeding into her craziness. And
that's where you dive into what's called elevated horror, like what Jenna Ortega was talking about at the beginning of Scream.
Yeah, where it's like got a bigger message going on.
Because a lot of
Jordan Peele's movies focus more on symbolism and realism and politics or different kind of rights problems.
Right.
Same way,
kind of like Nope, where it was like a Lovecraftian, like it looked like a space alien, but it was more of like the space like ship was like a being itself.
Huh. Kind of.
Outside of like a dimension or something like that. That's what apparently it was revealed to be. Like the fucking spacecraft, it looked like a UFO, was actually like...
It's an entity.
It's its own entity. It's supposed to be like this Lovecraftian sort of monster.
Huh. Neat.
I can't remember what it's supposed to signify, though. Maybe like mass hysteria or something like that.
I will say that was probably the weakest part with Smile, when they literally beat you over the head with the hammer, saying it's a mental illness. It's like, yes, I get it, it's mental illness. You have to tell me 50 times. Stop.
Although the fucking part that got me was the fucking ending with the mom face, the monster.
Oh,
the Smile monster. Fuck that.
The thing that looked like peeled skin thing.
Yeah, that shit.
Had the 5 jaws and everything. Yeah.
Fucking terrifying.
That was pretty
fuck?
neat. No, again, I didn't.
That was a Cronenberg monster. What the fuck?
Again, to me, it didn't really hit that much because a lot of it is digital effects and a lot of it's not like practical effects, right?
Yeah.
But again, I will say the way
it looked like it was practical.
Yeah, but it's mostly all digital. But
damn.
It could have been like some practical effects, but digital makeup on top of it. But regardless, I think a lot of it did help with the fact that like it was a different take on horror itself, and I did appreciate that.
Baby, actually, this could probably bounce off of you too. I want to introduce you into the podcast a little bit more, just so that you're involved. What was so as far as like digital versus practical effects? What do you sort of like draw yourself towards?
Like something more that's like
because a lot of people say that practical effects is usually the way to go, but then digital you can do so much more with.
Yeah.
So it's like CGI versus like actually doing like the makeup and everything.
You already know that damn answer? The answer is
CG.
No, makeup effect. Because if you watch Buffy the Vampire Slayer TV show, fuck.
They do get away with a lot of shit in that show.
They did so good on those monsters. Like fuck,
That was
dude.
pretty nifty.
That's pretty nifty.
Cool Mundo.
Yeah, cool Mundo. They probably would say that in that goddamn show.
Yeah.
I mean, shit. If no one hasn't seen the fucking show, like, it would make sense. You don't know what happens, but like a lot of the shit in that show, it was 85% makeup effect.
Yeah, like a lot of it was really.
No, the only thing that was really CGI were the fucking like
It was probably like that weird boogeyman episode that stole people's souls or something like that, like from people that were sleeping. The weird, like the one where the eyes pop out and everything.
No, actually, that was not CGI'd. Those were actually the people. No,
No, I'm talking about the one that like the eyes pop out and it's like weird tentacles and shit, and it looked weird. It was creepy.
Oh, from season 2.
Yeah, those eyes were CGI.
Oh, yeah,
I forget what he's called. He's like a weird boogeyman that sucks people's souls out, essentially.
Shark Swim?
Yeah, it was an episode where they thought of him like almost like Freddy Krueger, like he was a nightmare dude. He came into the hospital because the children were like ill and shit, so they were already weak. So he came after them, and he stole their life force from them, and it was from their eyes. Like his eyes pop out, and they had weird little teeth and shit. It was creepy as fuck, and that's why the kids always freaked out and shit at night. But the doctors didn't listen to shit.
So yeah, it is Friday. They're not.
I was saying, you mean Nightmare on Elm Street?
Nightmare on Elm Street. Thank you. I'm sorry.
Freddy
So many movies in a
Krueger?
little time.
Scream. Gotcha.
Anyways, yeah.
The Phantasm.
Halloween.
But the only part that
I want to get into some weird movies. Let's go into Phantasm.
the only part that was CGI'd was literally the
Her
eyes,
tits.
the eyes opening, the eyes opening and then popping out. But then after that, then they weren't CGI'd. They actually made props. That
Okay,
they stayed
fair enough.
stiff after that.
I'm under the impression that you use practical effects, but you only use CGI to enhance those practical effects.
Yeah,
Like what they were intending to do in The Thing, like, what was it, The Thing prequel that they released a while ago?
Huh?
That was the idea, is that they had everything practical, and they were only going to use CGI to add more tentacles. Or, like, more goo, or, like, more something to make it more nasty, essentially, that they couldn't accomplish with just practical.
Right.
Like, that's what the whole point of CGI is supposed to be. But then, again, studio interference got in the way and said, like, nah, fuck all that shit. It's expensive. CGI the whole fucking movie. And then it looks like a fucking... it looks like a scene out of a goddamn video game.
See, but what you can also do with practical effects, you can get something like the Gremlins. Right? Even though they're not human, they still have some weird body modification things that happen that make it look scarier.
Puppets. They're all puppets. I think they're all made by the Jim Henson Corporation.
But still,
aren't they?
regardless, it's like, you know what I mean? It was like,
Oh, yeah.
these cute little things that turn into like horrifying little monsters that start wielding guns.
Oh, yeah. I fucking love it. Gremlins is one of my top 10 movies. It's great.
But what I was going to say with that, though, going back to my final thoughts with Smile, I think, one, it has a terrible ending, but two, also, it has a really good shot to where she conquers her whole fear, right? She conquers her whole fear, she's going back home, and then she realizes, like, oh, wait, the monster's still following me. The second she leaves her apartment, she still hasn't left that house. When she walks out that front door, I'm like, that's a good shot.
So it's kind of like PT, where it just like keeps looping you through the same area a
Exactly.
little
Like, she
bit.
thought she beat it, but it's like, you never even left the house.
It just fucks with your mind
Yeah, it's
a little
fucking
bit.
with you.
Okay.
But I think the way they handled the ending was terrible, because the whole point was that, like, it works off of traumatizing people.
Mm-hmm.
Instead, they had to force, like, oh, look at the person who's been helping you for, like, 2 days. Now he's traumatized. It's like, you literally had her sister say, you traumatized my kid at his birthday party. And it's like, you could have just had transferred to him. And then he would have been doing the same thing like his mom went to the beginning, where it's like, oh, she had this whole mental illness from the beginning and everything.
Okay, so it has the same problems as the Grudge remake they brought out.
The Grudge remake was just fucking terrible.
Well, I mean, yeah, it had a sound mixing problem, but like one plot point in that fucking
I just
movie.
didn't think it was good. The only good shot in that whole movie was the one they used for the fucking movie cover.
Yeah, that's
Well,
fair.
the only shot that was good in that movie was the start of the credits.
Well, that too. But again, I think the movie cover is the only good shot in that whole movie. That's what they use it for, the movie cover.
There's one detail
He's
that
in the shower and just the hand just going through the hair. It's like, that's a good shot.
Yeah.
And that's the reason why they use it for the cover, because it's the only good shot in the whole damn movie. Because everything else is just, look at the scary ghost in the background. That's it.
meow meow.
And that movie
There
sucks.
was one detail that this one reviewer that I was listening to about the movie. Oh my god, he pointed it out, and I was like, oh yeah, this movie's fucking dog shit. Well, I mean, there was a lot of other details, but this one specifically fucking killed it.
It was about the Grudge.
Yes, it was about the Grudge, but specifically,
Didn't kill it.
it was about the house. The house itself.
Oh, yeah.
The lady's murdered in the house, and it's established that anyone who enters that house is cursed. The whole police squad is in that goddamn house. All those cops are cursed. That town doesn't have a fucking police squad anymore. What the fuck?
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
Well, it's like that one movie where it's like, I forget what it was called, but it was like the ghost that only like moves like in the darkness, whatever it is. And so like they have a shot with like they're flipping on and off the lights.
Lights out.
Yeah.
Yeah, so they have like the whole police squad in there. It's like, yeah, they're all dead.
They're all fucking dead.
It's sad because
I liked Lights Out when it was a short film.
let's see, the short film was scarier than the actual movie.
It's actually a short film.
It was like a 3-minute short film, and dude, her fucking face, that practical effect was
Oh my
haunting.
god, I had nightmares. Fuck.
Dude, just those big bugged eyes that were plain.
It was
white
like a
as the
human
wall.
face, but it was like stretched out, like almost like a, like it was normal jaw size, but it was like down to here. Like that episode of Smallville where you have like the chick that swallowed the kryptonite and she was losing weight like really fast, so she disjoints her jaw to eat a deer in the middle of the street.
Oh, that's that thing you keep telling.
Dude, I got fucking terrified. I don't know what it is about jaws unhinging on people, but it freaks me out.
So what you're saying is
She had the body of a regular woman, like a semi-strawberry blonde woman.
Yeah, yeah.
And big bugged white eyes that were just plain as the wall, no pupils. Big ass, like the movie Smile on her.
Yeah.
And just flicks the fucking lamp off right
It just
next to
literally
the
like
dude's face.
So what you're saying is it's Prettykitty's face trying to do the Jim Carrey's mask impression. Just really stretched out proportions. Just
It's like when Jim Carrey like sees Cameron Diaz for the first time as the mask. He's just like,
God. Now I get it.
now I understand.
That's radical.
Thanks, Dr. Science.
It's Dr. Nick.
But no, The Grudge was just bad in general, and there's always like a good way to do. There's always a good and bad way to do psychological horror.
Now,
and
did you-
definitely the new Grudge was a terrible way of doing it.
I was gonna say because the original Grudge is fucking fantastic. I love
Now,
the original.
if you
Grudge.
want-
I think
talk
the
about-
original Grudge might have only the slight problem.
It's a slow
well,
burn.
I would say, and the same thing I had a problem with Smile was that at the very beginning, it's a very slow burn.
Oh, yeah.
I
Oh, yeah.
passed out twice during the very beginning, but still, I give it high regard because that movie's still really good. I actually, as much as I don't personally like Smile, I know it's a really good movie. It's really good.
It's very interesting to hear you say that and just say like I didn't like it personally, but I know it's a good movie.
Was the same thing in some other games like Devil May Cry. I can't personally play those games. I don't know why. It's like water off a duck's back. I can't play them for whatever reason, but I know they're fucking great games.
All right, fair enough. Okay,
Yeah.
I'll get behind you on that.
I mean, because that's almost more like a psychological thriller / paranormal thing with what Lights Out was.
Yeah.
And for something like that, that's where I think the best kind of horror is, because you can't fight it, you can't see it, and you don't know when it's going to say hi.
Fuck that.
And that's what I kind of like about Pinhead and the Cenobites, but you have to activate the lament configuration for anything like that to happen.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas some of these movies, it just happens because you turn 13 or something.
Mm-hmm.
Or
16 Candles. Great horror movie.
or yeah, Showgirls, absolutely terrifying. Or like what was it? It's just a family curse or a cult that sacrificed you, or like what Midsommar was. Another bit of elevated horror that A24 actually does really well. But that, just because, and I have a long infatuation with paranormal things. We all know I've had different weird shit happen that I can't explain.
Yeah.
But
We should probably get those on video at one point because those are fucking spooky that you've told me.
and just because I've lived through the realism of what some of those things are, it's not quite like a PTSD effect, but kind of. Like, fuck, it's coming back.
It's like the creeps essentially.
Kind of. Which
Like
is,
shit, not this again.
like, I will still sit there and watch it and still be scared shitless to go to bed. But I still do, because I'm fat and lazy and drugs help.
And because we watch Simpsons after the fact, and it's like, hey, we can make fun of this shit.
I'll be sitting there watching Mr. Nightmare's true horror stories with videos.
See, those
photos.
are different though for some reason. I don't know why, but I can listen to someone tell me about something scary rather than watch something that's scary. Because like, if something's scary on screen, it's like, I don't know, it hits different.
Well, see, like, the different thing with Mr. Nightmare that scares me, like, if he's just telling the story or if I'm listening to a podcast, all right, cool. But if I'm watching it and it's got, like, photos or like
got imagery.
or if it's got a clip of what actually happened, it'll fuck with me for a second.
Like the Night Stalker documentary, that was terrifying.
Dude.
That was fucking spooky.
That all.
Or like the John Wayne Gacy one that came out recently.
Oh, the one I was watching?
Yeah, and the Dahmer one that came out recently. That one was twisted.
Dahmer was just fucked to watch, but I
Yeah.
couldn't stop.
It's like a train wreck.
Dude.
Fuck.
Yeah, Trainwreck would kind of be the right way. I mean, we all saw what Amy Schumer looks like.
Fuck.
Best horror movie right there. Anything that horrible ugly pig's in.
Good old Amy. But, yeah, man, that's actually the genre I actually like, is just elevated horror. Because, honestly, I think that's probably some of the best ways to do horror. Kind of go back to The Fly. It's something that starts out, like, just low, and then it's just gradually just something that's just getting worse over time.
Yeah.
You know? To me, personally, even though I do like Friday the 13th movies, I don't think that's a good way to always have a franchise go for like a long period of time, where it's just like, oh well, it's the unstoppable force. Of course, it's going to be coming for you.
It's
right?
like the
compared to something that's like always getting worse. Again, like The Fly is a perfect example. Where it's like oh, you don't see, if it's your first time watching, you're like, oh, I don't see what's going on wrong. And then like he's slowly getting weirder. What's happening? Why? He's getting
Right.
really weird. Oh, what is happening to his body? Oh no!
It's like that falls underneath the category of like, again, it's unstoppable force. You don't know what's happening. You don't know if you can stop it. And then at some point, it's like the only visible route is fucking kill the thing.
Yeah, but see, the problem I have with a lot of those unstoppable force things, usually that unstoppable force is at full power from the start, right? It's not
Yeah.
something that's like slowly getting worse over time. Because again, Smile is also a perfect way where it's like, it's not that bad in the very beginning, but when you get towards the end, she's fucking losing it.
Yeah, that's fair. Like, I saw a comic recently. Actually, I saw a comic a long time
Kind of
ago.
like how the Babadook was.
A little.
Yeah.
I can see that.
Because she got more strained and strenuous the more along the movie. Like, but then again, the kid just kept taking me out of it.
But like that whole movie's about the stresses of postpartum, wasn't it?
Of death and living life as a widow because her
It was
husband
grief,
died.
essentially.
Grief, yes,
Okay.
and because she was a single mom trying to make all the shit work.
Let's face it, though, The Simpsons did it better.
Yeah, because it didn't have that annoying fucking kid.
It had Maggie, which is a fucking awesome kid.
Yeah, but Maggie's fucking perfection.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of like when I watched Cujo.
Yeah, Cujo's just sad.
Like,
Cujo's honestly just a sad movie.
like I like Cujo. I love the book. I love the movie. That was another good adaptation. Stephen King.
Yep.
Yet again.
Getting back to adaptations, fuck.
But everything in the movie was good. Granted, it was only 10% of the fucking book, damn near.
Yeah.
But that fucking kid in the Gremlin or whatever the fuck they were driving, how he screamed constantly, and I get the kid is scared. I'm not gonna sin you for that. But the scream is the same over and over and over every time. And it's just repetitive. They'll do
Yeah.
it 30 motherfucking times.
She okay?
Yeah, she's just licking herself.
Alright.
But
You know, I will say, and that one's like, I probably wouldn't say it's the greatest one doing it, but it's sort of kind of like an elevator horror. Not really though. Would probably be the It Part 1s.
Okay, yeah.
Each one, it's
That's like childhood trauma.
Exactly.
coming back in your adult years,
Right.
essentially.
it's hard to say it's elevator horror because like it's such short ramp ups because you have to go through each character.
Mm-hmm.
But it's like when it hits them, then they all have to confront the final thing. It's like then it's the worst it's ever gotten for them.
Would you say like the new one or the old one? Because the old one,
I think the new one has some of its faults for like even like the old one does.
it has more of the stuff in the book in the new one. I will give it.
But
I'll give
honestly,
that.
I think nearly all the part ones have done it just really well compared to part twos. So far,
I really enjoy part one compared to part two. As far as
so far all the part twos I've
goes.
seen, part twos have always sucked.
so, are you
Unfortunately.
asking what is better done as a compared or as an adaptation purpose, or just better done as a psychological thriller that fucks with you?
I think on both aspects, I believe that the new ones hit a point where it's like the adaptation was very well done because they were able to incorporate a lot of the kids' fears along with stuff that they didn't have in the original miniseries, along with a lot of the cosmic aspects of Pennywise itself. Also, it does the horror a little bit better. I'll give it that.
Obviously, you know what?
It doesn't play it as goofy.
Honestly, you know what? And that's one of the films where I think, honestly, you're right. The newer one does do it better because even though it's CG, it puts a lot more into the weird psychological horror things.
Hell, it had the scene where the fucking hillbillies are throwing the gay couple over the fucking the bridge, and then they get, one of them gets eaten by Pennywise.
Yeah.
That's part 2, though.
Yeah, it's the beginning
Yeah.
of part 2.
But I was gonna say,
It was
part
the
1
beginning
with
of the book.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I was like, because part 1, you have a lot of things. It was like, oh, like the kid's scared of the statue, whatever. I think the worst one that came out, that was like, what was it? Was it the kid was in a church or a library and there's like a weird fucked up painting of a lady, and then she just comes right out of the fucking painting.
fuck
It's like,
that.
oh Jesus!
Fuck that. It's fucking terrifying. Oh my god.
And it's like you could never done that something with practical effects. If you could, it would have been very hard to achieve.
I think the fact that that was digital was the fact that it was so unnatural looking that, yeah, like you said, you can't get someone's face to look like that unless they were actually already looking like that.
Exactly, right? It's like you could try to do that, but it's like you have a really tough time doing that.
You would definitely have to have Tim Burton's number.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Oh my god. Get the creator of Wednesday.
But for something like that, like a lot of the payout that happened, like when Richie was scared of the statue, that payout came out in the second movie when he was an adult. Or even the painting, but
I think I forget what the black kid's name was. Is Ted?
Mike.
Fuck.
Jesus,
Sorry.
you're way off.
I am.
Mulder? Is that his name?
So,
Scully.
I was gonna say Sully.
Michael
Yeah.
Moore. So Mike, his fear was like when his parents burnt up in the house while he was out, right?
Yeah, and he couldn't do anything.
So I think his is like probably one of the most valid fears, honestly, because it's not irrational because it happened to him.
That one's just absolutely easy to achieve, whether you're physical or practical or computer generated.
I mean, the way that they showed it was just like burnt bodies, like trying to claw their way out of a garage door. That's fucking scary.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Because, fuck. I think that the first one, on both ends, I do agree. Part 1 is usually better because I think you care more for the kids to win.
Yeah.
Because it's the kids. No one seems to give an eighth of a fuck about teenagers. No one gives a damn about the adults. It's when the kids are in danger, which is something that I kind of liked when I started watching Friday the 13th. Right around part 6, when they reopened the camp,
Yeah.
and Jason's walking around, and that scared little blonde girl in bed thinking that she's going to get beaten or killed. Mm-hmm. He just kind of looks at her and walks because he notices she's scared, and he fucks off. That's something that I really kind of dug about Jason because, or like that.
I don't think Michael does anything with kids, does he?
You saw him in Halloween Kills. He killed
Not the new ones. I'm talking about the older ones.
He didn't give a shit about kids.
Oh,
Because he was a kid.
he was a little kid.
Kid at heart.
He was like,
He was still killing kids. He was still killing people like kids are with a kid.
that's fair.
He was still killing people
Michael's a bigger
with a
piece of
kid
shit.
with the heart of a kid.
Well, see, Leatherface and Jason are the only ones that really won't fuck with a child. Because Leatherface basically identifies as a child. He thinks
Leatherface had a child.
Well,
He
I mean,
basically thinks he would find a friend.
Jason would have been close if the child hasn't tricked him in part 4.
Oh yeah, fucking die, Tommy Jarvis.
Yeah.
Well, he didn't fight back against the kid.
That's
I was
true.
gonna say because he
looked like
fucking
him.
with him. Yeah, that was the
He
whole
got
point. That's what I'm
identified.
saying.
He was like, "Oh no!"
But I'm sure if that movie put out any different, he probably would have killed the kid at the very end. Probably because
Kind of like how the Predator didn't fuck with the Wayland until he figured out that he was like gonna fight back. Like
Well-
he looked at him through the infrared and
He
saw
noticed
that
that he had cancer.
Yeah, he just threw him. Put him to the side.
He wasn't worth the fight.
Yeah, and then the fucking dumbass fucking flamethrower at the back of his head. Don't turn your back on me. And he's just like, fuck this, stab, you're done. You're fucking dead
Oh,
now.
so, but also there was part 6. Is that if that's the one I'm thinking of? Where Tommy Jarvis goes back to the camp, and Jason's about to fucking bust down the fucking door to one of the cabins, but then the officer shoots him with the shotgun. And it's like he probably would have fucked up all those kids too, but you never know.
That one, like, it's hard to judge that one because he was on a rampage at the moment. So
Exactly.
maybe, like, in a fit of rage, he might have accidentally killed a kid.
That's what I'm saying. Like it's hard to debate if he either would have or couldn't have, because who knows? I mean, I'm sure it's probably one of those movies that they probably couldn't even get away with.
Because they also didn't show Tommy Jarvis interacting with Jason a whole lot in Part 4. The most they did was like when he disguised himself.
That's what I'm saying. Regardless, I don't know if they could probably ever show it because that movie was probably already pushing the boundaries. So they probably couldn't even show like a child death even on screen, even though it was like after he was killed or whatever. Like RoboCop 2. Like, you didn't get to see the kid getting shot, and he's just there about to die, like, and that's about it.
And
I was like, damn it, I want to see that kid getting shot because he's a fucking shit.
And that scene almost had to get cut because of the MPAA.
Yeah.
Exactly, right? And it's like, it's obvious why.
And that's another thing, like with Freddy Krueger. You couldn't have Freddy be who he really was. Mm-hmm. Which is why everybody hates the remake. Because then you got to show him as who he really was. Mm-hmm. Like, you can't sit there with a straight face and tell me Freddy Krueger didn't get off on what he did with these kids. Whether he...
That's the whole point of his character.
Exactly, right.
Whether he was touching them or had some sick pedophilic response with it, I don't know. But it made more sense for this. Granted, in the remake, he didn't kill the kids.
Yeah.
He just diddled them.
He just fucked them up, essentially.
Like, if they would have thrown that in there, whereas, like, he may have killed one or two of them, and then he kind of got excited with it, and then that would explain why he was scratching up, like, Nancy in the blue dot dress or whatever.
Yeah.
Then, okay, that would have probably put a hell of a lot more people on board with the movie. Because Jackie Earle Haley really did not do a bad fucking job.
I thought he was pretty good, honestly.
I mean, even Robert Englund gave him credit on how he did Freddy Krueger.
But I just like Jackie Earle Haley. I think he's fucking great. I liked his version of Rorschach better than the comic version.
Yeah.
Comic version, he's a fucking incel.
I mean, he kind of was in the movie. They just never really gave him women around him.
Yeah, fair.
But because when it comes to that kind of aspect of horror, of the slasher, you know that to me, a child has to be off limits.
Yeah.
Like, when it comes to Michael Myers, people try to overdo it. Because in the first two movies, he was just a fucking dude who could take a lot of pain. He's just an escape mental patient with, like, retard farm boy strength, which does exist in the real world. It's been shown a lot. Mm-hmm. But to have him basically be unstoppable, be some cult thing, monster, or make it to where in the retarded aspect of Halloween Kills, well, every kill he gets stronger. Yeah. And yet in Halloween Ends, he's... And then after
he's ever apology. I'm too weak.
Then after doing the first kill...
It's been 5,000 years now, I'm fine.
And after the first kill that they split in the sewers, he's doing the fucking Harlem Shake to come back.
I mean, you're not wrong.
Oh, mama.
It's like a Scottish dude watching a Mel Gibson movie. He's hitting another guy.
He was gold member when he got his first piece of gold.
Oh, I love gold.
That right there is pretty fucking scary.
Yeah, baby.
Yeah, baby.
But like putting in that aspect for how overused they are now since the 80s have passed and the 90s have passed. In the 80s, they were fucking everywhere, almost unstoppable. Every year you were having at least fucking 8 to 10 of them come out a year.
Yeah.
Do you believe that the slasher genre has been completely fucking ruined?
No.
Due to overuse?
I think it has, like, we have a lot of modern slashers that are honestly, like, doing pretty well for themselves. I mean, Scream is the best example for a modern slasher that we have, like, nowadays that's still getting fucking sequels. And the newest one that came out, honestly, I think did really well.
Yes, but I mean, obviously outside of Ghostface, who else really was there? Like, yeah, you had Michael Myers trilogy. You had a Child's Play remake. And like 5 new reboots of the Texas Chainsaw franchise that went fucking nowhere.
True.
That somehow got worse and worse.
I think that's,
I think the thing is with slasher movies, I think it's not out of style. I think the problem is that they want
using too many of the old guys.
Exactly. They want to revitalize these old iconic characters. And it's like, you should try to make something new. Granted, making something new is completely hard.
They're
but
trying
then
to revitalize them only 20 years later as well.
Well, that's the point, because now it's out of fashion. So maybe we get this whole new demographic in, and they might do better, which usually is not the case, because it's usually the old demographic coming back in. But regardless, it's going to be hard to make something new, but then you can get something like Smile. Where it's like, yeah, it's a brand new horror icon. And it's like, of course, what's its identity? Well, it's kind of anything.
Yeah.
Its whole identity is that it has this weird fucking crazy smile.
Yeah,
which I'm glad. Which I will say, I'm glad they did take out the CG from the trailers, where everyone had even goofier smiles, like it was fucking Truth or Dare.
That's what threw me off. I was like, I've seen this before. Fuck.
Yeah. When I first saw
I
that,
love the fact that we found like Truth or Dare on Netflix and it was the wrong one.
it was the wrong fucking version of Truth or Dare, but it was the same plot.
It was
It was
basically the same
so
plot.
fucking stupid. I left after 15 minutes.
The remake, or another remake, the fucking the wrong one actually was probably more entertaining than the actual one.
It took place in Mexico instead.
It did.
And then they went back to America.
And then every character in there is kind of shit.
I'd rather
close,
watch
about
the
the
Would
same.
You Rather movie with the dude from Gotham.
Would you rather?
Wait a minute. Which?
That does sound really familiar. The title, at least.
The Would You Rather, because
Oh, the one where it's like you got the razor with the eye and everything.
yeah, that's on the cover.
Yeah. Honestly, I kind of like
And
that
Robin
one.
Lord Taylor, the guy who played Penguin in Gotham, was the guy putting on the show.
Yes. He was that. I would believe that
He was
movie
the
took
game
place
master?
in Gotham. Honestly.
He was the game master. That seems like something that Quizmaster or Gamer would do.
Quizmaster, Gamer, or like what was it? Arcade.
Arcade, maybe.
Well, Arcade's more like
I don't-
like the fun aspect of like DC.
Sounds like something maybe Anarchy would do, but I don't think
I can see that
Anarchy
with
would.
Cluemaster maybe.
Cluemaster was the one that I was trying to think.
There we go. Maybe even like
Because I don't see Anarchy going purposely trying to hurt people,
yeah.
unless they were political.
What was it? The version of Riddler from the Batman Telltale series. I could see him doing that.
You can see Riddler doing that.
Riddler from the Telltale series specifically, because he's like more of a jigsaw type figure. Almost.
Well, okay, fair. Well, then again, I could see Paul Dano's Riddler doing that with the political
Fuck,
aspects of
yeah,
Gotham.
you're right. Like hell, even like that version of fucking Penguin from there, I could see him having like a twisted dungeon.
Oh, Oz?
Yeah, Oswald.
I could see him.
Maybe even Pig.
That sounds something more like what Pig would do, but Pig's too busy doing the pain himself. He wouldn't give you the chance to choose.
That's fair. Okay.
Because he wants to make you perfect.
Perfection.
I want to see here where I thought you guys were going to say he's too busy being in Lion King.
They call me Mr. Pig.
Yeah, but remember, they cut that scene out of the live action one. They
Yeah.
changed it.
Well, I didn't bother watching that one. It just looked like garbage in general.
That's
Because
Brittany's
Seth Rogen-
expertise. She's the one who saw the
Seth
movie.
Rogen fucking changed it to, I hate a boy, and then throws a fucking hyena off the cliff. I'm like,
Oh
are you
Jesus!
fucking with me?
So
That was,
because-
that was debatably Pumbaa's best fucking line was the Mr. Pig stitch.
No, because now he's a big hero who stands up to bullies. Remember,
like-
kids,
So
National Geographic can teach you everything. I mean, Lion King can teach you everything.
Brit saw the
Bullying is a
movie in
necessary
theater. Well, we saw it, chapter 2, I think. Was it 2 or 1?
I don't think she went and saw Lion King when we were in it.
She saw Lion King while we were in another movie. I know that.
Or no, I was thinking of when we were in Insidious. She went and saw Jumanji.
That's right. Okay.
So yes, she probably did go into the Lion King when we went and saw it.
Yes. So she saw baby.
Well, trying to look her up.
Oh, I think she's out.
Is Insidious the one with that weird looking Darth Maul Lucifer?
Yes.
Yes.
Darth Maul's method.
I thought that movie was pretty interesting up until that part. I was like, okay, you're losing me now. It looks like fucking Darth Maul.
That's what fucked with everyone because it was so random and out of nowhere. You had no build up, no music, and all of a sudden, hi, hello.
Well, it's just for him to look like that as like Darth Maul. It's like, huh? Am I watching the right movie? It's Darth Maul with hairy legs.
Screaming, "Welcome to Chili's!"
Welcome to Chili's. I'll be your asshole.
But
Hello.
Hello.
But like with Insidious, when I first saw the Insidious movie, I was staying over at a friend's place, and it was 2 or 3 in the fucking morning. Everyone was out. Every light was out. I was sleeping on the floor, and when I laid my head down after watching the movie, I'm like, yo, this movie was pretty intense. Like, I never pictured it being this good.
The fucking lipstick
Yeah.
demon like right above you.
Well, I was just laying down, and my face was looking into his closet, which was fucking open.
Jesus
and that's pitch
Christ.
black.
I hate that shit.
Or like when we first saw the movie Mirrors, that Kiefer Sutherland movie.
Yeah, yeah. Oh, yeah. Doesn't he die at the end or something like that?
Something like yes, he does. And
that's one with doppelgangers, isn't it?
Yes.
Okay.
Where your doppelganger's in the other side of the mirror, and what it does to itself, it does to you.
Yes.
When we were watching that movie, we were sleeping in the basement. Do you have any idea how many reflective surfaces were in that motherfucking room?
Fuck that. Mirrors at night fucks with me.
I'm like, dude, I just smoked about
A bowl.
half a sack, so I don't need this shit right now. I just got done sitting on top of his stove looking at the fridge. I didn't open it. I didn't eat anything. I'm just sitting there like, there's probably some good shit in there.
Contemplating the actual...
20 minutes I sat on this fucking thing. Looking. Then he comes up, grabs a bottle of water, and I'm like, oh shit, it opens.
That's interesting.
Then he's
So you
sitting
come
there
to
like,
bed, buddy, and just like, I'll be there in a minute.
he was looking at me like, how the fuck did you get up there without the stool?
You got me there. Where am I?
I'm like,
How did I?
Am I on the stove?
I'm like,
Is that a mirror?
how did you?
Is that the lipstick demon in the closet?
Is that Darth Maul?
But or not quite elevate horror, sorry, but the more paranormal shit like that, that's what kind of intrigues me. But whereas like with the slasher shit, what really makes a slasher scary anymore? Because it's been so done, you almost become domesticated to it to a point.
little, yeah.
You know,
That's why those
you almost become numb to it because of what 12 Friday the 13th movies, 13 Halloween movies now, all the Nightmare on Elm Streets, Chucky movies, Leatherface, Scream, Pinhead.
So I'll give you that, but it almost has to be like a sort of the town that feared sundown sort of thing, where it was based off a true story or something like that,
Yeah,
where it has validity to it, like the Night Stalker movie or the John Wayne Gacy movie that came out.
Or like
Fucking Twisty the Clown was based off of John Wayne Gacy at one point.
Yeah, to have something based off of realism, to me, is kind of a double-edged sword. Like, yes, I do want to see what the fuck happened, but don't cast it in the light of a popular movie. Don't make it a AAA release. Don't make it like something that Scream got. Like, granted, yes, Scream is a realistic take and can happen. It's
And it
very
did happen at one point.
and very realistic to happen. And yes, and even Scream is based off a true story, the Gainesville Ripper in Florida. And but for some, because you can buy that fucking costume anywhere for $20, maybe 25, because of its popularity. You can get a real fucking knife. You can use anything. You can use cars, guns, whatever. You can make Ghostface real.
Oh yeah. You can get a lot of people to do this shit.
And that's what actually makes Scream, to me, worth watching. It doesn't make it scary, but it's almost perturbing.
Okay.
Whereas, like...
But along the same line, the remake for Friday the 13th, you could almost make realistic. Because, I mean, they played it realistic in that one, where he was a child lost in the woods, raised himself basically surviving off this camp, like, whatever he learned at camp. Like, hunting with the bow. He makes his underground tunnel system, essentially, to get from point A to point B without being seen. Like,
Well, see, that's the thing, though, because early in the Friday franchise, and it was part 2, when they started finding shacks randomly in the middle of the woods near Crystal Lake. People were realizing someone's living here, but no one's been around here for 10, 15, 20 years. And that's when they started realizing this person's not an idiot. He's well trapped, he's well prepared, he's well fed. He knows what he's doing. So it was established Jason's no idiot. He just looks like a fucking dirt tard, but
Yeah.
Jason,
he knows his shit.
Jason's got a brain. And he knows his surroundings. He knows his area.
I mean, like, I think that also becomes from, like, I'm no expert in, like, people with disabilities in any way. I know that a lot of people with, like, say if it was autism or something like that, their brain can operate on a different level when it comes to something that they're very interested in. Like, I take my cousin, for example. He is...
Retarded.
Fuck. Like, did you meet my cousin? He's like a little guy. He's like 14, but he's got like the body structure of kind of like a 11-year-old, 10-year-old.
I maybe met him.
Like
once.
platinum blonde hair. He's kind of like he's like really pale.
Yeah, he sounds familiar.
Mm-hmm. Like you can still talk to him, and he'll still try to conversate with you a little bit. He's very limited speech, but you give this kid a set of keys from a car, like specifically like any vehicle, he'll tell you the make and model and year it was made, depending on the fucking like teeth of the key.
That's a psychopath.
Like he knows, like he studied this shit. He's like he loves keys to cars so much that he knows like any like make or model just from the teeth.
Again, that's a psychopath. Like this kid could look into your pocket, or if you're like hanging onto your keys,
He knows where you're parked.
he could probably guess your license plate. He could probably guess your fucking lock at home. He could probably follow you home and just be like, all right, it's got 2 teeth up here, 5 bumps down here. If she swings, I go up. So
Fuck.
you think this is funny, but people think like this. People can read your license plate and find out where the fuck you live.
Just by the way you breathe, goddammit.
It pays to think like a serial killer once or twice in your life. It can be helpful, oddly enough.
That's fair.
But
That's fair.
no, but going back to what, like the realism, when you have things like the Texas Chainsaw Massacre or like Hannibal Lecter or Anthony Perkins' Psycho, none of those were really things that happened. It was all based around one dude.
Yeah.
It was all based around Ed Gein.
Yep.
And he was fucking weird.
And then Buffalo Bill. He was played up for like
Yeah, Buffalo Bill.
big showmanship almost in a certain way. But
Well, because Ed was like that. Usually when he would take the body parts and wear them, he would be flamboyant and what he called a sexy strutter. And he would try to put on a show for himself.
mm-hmm.
And then he'd take the same face and turn it into a lampshade. But look, I'm just saying in today's world, he has an Etsy shop. But
Look, all I'm asking, was this stuff good? Was it quality?
Half par.
Half par. It's just like it's a face draped over an actual lampshade.
that got dry, but the couch upholstery held.
He made like the plastic like cover over a fucking couch. It's just made out of faces. Oh my god, this is horrible.
But
Terribly preserved, my head.
Seriously, it's like cracked leather. You didn't even get any of the fucking leather conditioner. Fuck that,
Dude, it's called-
terribly torn.
like, dude, get yourself a bottle of a vino. My God,
It's like, come on,
moisturize.
at least some aloe. Shit.
Like, it stinks in here. Get some Dove, bro.
Get some fucking Febreze. Shit.
Sorry, all I had was milk.
Milk.
Well, it does a body good.
Yeah.
Make the bones real strong.
What bones are in here? You want some Tosole?
He's polishing the fucking like lamp like post that's made out of bones with fucking milk and shit.
Yeah, milk and sandpaper.
Oh shit.
You don't want the milk dripping. Well,
This
that's
one's
too
not
much.
getting monetized, that's for sure.
Not too much. It's not too much milk on them bones, boy.
It ain't much, but it's honest work. Yuck.
Yup.
Well, it actually brings up perfectly. So I was
With
gonna say
mommy?
another movie that's not brought up a whole lot, mostly because it was torn to the fucking ground. How bad each sequel we got would have been Wrong Turn.
Experiment.
No, not that, you stupid idiot.
You stupid idiot.
You stupid idiot. That's a double entendre.
Hey, you think I'm dumb, huh?
You think I'm dumb?
Spell entendre.
Oh,
I was just about to say,
yeah. No, but
let's see, see creators need.
well, I was gonna say Wrong Turn. You know, the first one at least.
Yeah, fair.
Like the Wrong Turn franchise. It was the exact same movie every fucking time.
I know, but I'm saying like
How many wrong turns can they make?
plenty. You know what they say?
Look at how many wrong turns we made around Seattle.
Three left turns
Look
make
at
a
me
right.
driving on a daily basis.
You know what they say? 3 left turns make a right. So eventually on the 4th one they get it right.
Fair. Apparently not these guys. These fuckers always get it wrong.
But like I was gonna say though, with being more stuff or like nearly unstoppable force is like you just have these random hicks out in the middle of nowhere in the first movie, and it's just like, well, what was the whole point? It's like you just kind of crossing the territory on accident.
I mean, you could say that, but you could also say the same thing about The Hills Have Eyes.
Exactly. Right.
Like just you're wrong place, wrong time sort of thing.
Exactly. And it's like I don't think like maybe something like that being on top of horror would make it scary, but it's like you can still do plenty of things to make it a slasher movie, but you don't have to always make it an unstoppable force, you know?
And also, Devil's Rejects. Like fucking just three maniacs, just three random maniacs just traveling around America. Can pull up to a gas station and just say like, "Hey kids, what's the matter? You don't like clowns, huh? Aren't we fucking funny?"
Now I think what's something they could probably do that'd make it still a slasher film is if I think the trope of we have to the main character or main characters beat the big evil and then the day is saved, right?
Yeah, it.
I well just in movies in general, like that's like it was like a lot of nearly every Friday the 13th movie.
Yeah.
Defeat the big evil, then we win.
Defeat Jason, we're good.
Even though he comes back every single time.
Yeah.
Regardless.
Yeah, bang.
I think what you could probably do is maybe if you were to do something that was more akin to like how maybe Friday the 13th Part 2 was going to start with. Or how the main girl who survived...
kill off the main character from the original?
Well, no. How the main character survived the first attack, and then all of a sudden she goes home. Who the fuck's stalking me now? Maybe you can end it with that. Like, either be like... Nearly this unstoppable horror. Maybe they escape. They don't see him for a long time, and then all of a sudden, now there's this guy just standing outside my house.
Okay.
He's been there for the last 2 days.
He's got like a peeping Tom thing going on, almost.
Right? Like, I think there's still plenty of ways you can still do a slasher movie. You just can't always do the exact same ending of, we have to kill this big evil, and then we win.
I mean, hell, they did that remake of Maniac a while ago with Elijah Wood, and they actually did it a lot better than the fucking 80s one. Honestly, I know, like, people have their opinions on Elijah Wood. I know that my fucking sister-in-law does. She fucking hates Elijah Wood for some reason.
Because she doesn't know talent.
I fucking love Elijah Wood. He's great. Especially in Maniac. Maniac, he's, like, very weird. He's, like, got, like, problems with his mom, so he ends up seeing... He's a lot like the Polka Dot Man, where he sees his mom's face everywhere, and he ends up, like, fucking stabbing mannequins over and over, but he also ends up sleeping with those mannequins in his bed. It's like this weird, twisted take on a serial killer that you don't see a whole lot of. And it's like from the killer's point of view as well. So it's like American Psycho, where you're supposed to root for the guy even though he's the antagonist the whole time.
Right, okay, yeah.
That's just the same for the new Texas Chainsaw.
Fuck. You're gonna get so canceled.
None of those kids I ever wanted to root for.
Well, I mean, every slasher movie... That's another pitfall that slasher movies fall into. You always root for the killer.
Well, I was saying, that's how I felt going back to the Friday...
Sometimes, yeah.
I was saying, going back to the Friday the 13th remake, that's how I felt with them. I hate all those teenagers. They're all shitheads.
Like one
Fuck
or
them
two,
all.
like Jared Padalecki was probably the, one of the only characters that you actually wanted to get out
I
of
didn't care for a single one
You
of
didn't
them.
care about Supernatural Boy?
They're all such shitheads.
Like Danielle Panabaker, or Killer Frost, whichever one you know her by, but
Like the blonde chick, right?
no.
Or the brown hair chick?
The brown hair chick that it did end up helping him find his sister.
Yeah.
And she got like yanked back into the bus toward the end of the movie.
Oh yeah, that's right.
But she was like the only one I genuinely gave an eighth of a damn for. That and Cho, the Asian dude.
Yeah.
I'm like, he was just trying to have fun, and they kept fucking him over.
He just kept drinking out of the fucking.
Yeah, he was the
shit.
only one ballsy enough to shoot the boot.
I hated Chad. Chad deserved to die.
His name's Chad.
Is his name Chad?
I was saying his name is Chad. That's his
Is it
problem.
Chet or Chad or like?
No, I'm saying that's his problem. His name is Chad.
His name's Chad.
I think it was Chad, but
He deserved to die. That name.
well,
Fuck.
plus that same Asian
me.
kid in that movie was also in the Nightmare on Elm Street remake.
Oh yeah, he was.
He was the
Right.
blogger kid who kept losing sleep, and Freddy just bashed his fucking face into the monitor.
Poor kid. Can't catch a break.
I'm like, cool. And then I found out Halloween was getting rebooted. I'm like, where you at?
He's in the background somewhere. We just gotta find him.
Just gotta get the trifecta going, bud. Come on.
Fuck.
But no, what really freaks me out when it comes to the things based on realism is the things that haven't happened yet but are so close that you can see it happening.
I know where you're going with this.
Me and you have talked about this a lot. The fucking Purge.
The fucking Purge movies. The first one gets me.
the first two are the ones that I can definitely agree with. Granted, when you got to the third one I think was election year.
I think so, yeah.
Look at how crazy we got over the fucking election when Donald Trump won.
Yeah.
Whether you agreed with the winner or not, we all had something to say, and people were a little
Perturbed.
fanatic
They're a little perturbed with that.
with what happened, and they felt betrayed. Yet I felt it was somewhat of a necessary evil. Don't fucking cancel me. Don't get ahead of me. But I felt it was a necessary evil because that showed right there what the vote doesn't really stand for. That it doesn't matter what you say, it's the Electoral College that wins.
Yeah.
But when it got to the first purge and the second one, hell, even the forever purge made sense because you know damn well the shit's going to get out of hand and who's going to stop these people when they're on a roll? But
Especially when, like, the alarm stops and then no one stops.
yeah, like who's gonna throw in and play the riot stoppers?
Fuck,
these
some of the cops are involved in this shit.
Yeah, some of the cops are still there. Like some of these guys got fucking grenade launchers and flamethrowers and tanks themselves because you let them do it. But I do feel like as desperate as we are for some form of control or relief for anxiety or stress, I wouldn't put it past us having some sort of thing like that in the future. Because of one, mainly overpopulation.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
I mean, they're already killing us off well enough as it is, but we like to do this thing called unprotected fucking. And it just keeps happening.
And us Mexicans love that unprotected fucking.
Yeah, the only ones that are safe are the Asian people. They taken that one baby rule too serious. But for some things like that, population control, stress relief, they think that it would ease people because the purge was what, only 12 hours, half a day, the overnight problem?
It was like literally as soon as it hit like 8, 9 o'clock or something like that, you had to like close up your house, just make sure you were barricaded inside if you weren't participating, and then you had until 6 in the morning, I think.
Because I'm almost positive it was like 10 hours or 12 hours.
It was 12 hours. Yeah, I remember that much at least.
Okay, so...
I haven't watched the Purge movies in a while, but I remember it was 12 hours.
And then in the second one, where Frank Grillo came in, you had people who were old and felt like a burden on their family selling themselves to rich people so they didn't have to go out, to where they could purge you, and they would pay you a lump sum to leave your family.
Fuck.
You think that wouldn't happen in real life?
It seems legit. It's because it's not like a supernatural aspect. It's not like it's totally out of the realm of possibility. We had shit like this a while ago.
Like, with how our medical system is, with how well we don't give a shit about other people, I mean, not you, y'all right, but...
Not you, y'all, right?
Yeah, not
For
anyone,
now, I guess.
Not anyone who clicked on this to listen, you cool too, but...
You good.
Yeah, we still good, but...
Thank you for subscribing.
We like you for now. If you do anything else, we're gonna hit you.
Yeah, hit that dislike button, I dare you.
Don't do it, please.
We're gonna hit you with a lot of love, and you're gonna like it.
The annual purge is now under order.
Fuck!
But,
Close the blinds.
Oh, thank God it started.
yeah, something like that, though.
Leave the
because-
door unlocked.
I'm staying out there. Fuck.
Yeah, something like that, because the old adage of you will give them an inch, but we will take a mile.
Mm-hmm.
You know goddamn well you're not going to stop these people if you give them the legal ability. Not only will you have a metric fuck ton of overdoses on opiates and other fun things behind the pharmacy counter, but which I would like to be right there at the beginning of the purge. Just be like, look, Walgreens is fairly close. I mean, I can just and come back here, but how do I know these people aren't assholes who live below us and won't set a fire? Because heat rises, and we in the middle. And stairs, I ain't trusting them stairs on fire.
That's what's scary about being in an apartment complex, especially when you're talking about concepts like the Purge. Because, like, where are we going to go?
Gas station.
Fuck, I mean, like, it is only one story. Like, that we have to go down. I feel bad for the bastards on the top floor.
We go down, yeah, they definitely dying.
Yeah, they're going first. They're going to work downwards.
Yeah, any fall that's 3 times your height will be either broken bones, but I mean 3 times your height is at our ceiling. Usually.
Just make sure you tuck and roll, I guess. But even that's like fucking...
Like if you're on the bottom floor and you're up to our ceiling, that's more than 3 times the height of a regular person.
I mean, come on. If I've learned anything from Resident Evil 4, tuck and rolling is the easiest way of taking no fall damage. Even
Yeah,
with
but
glass
you
shards.
want to trust Leon after he didn't know how to operate a shotgun like a fucking idiot?
Hey, man. He rolls out of windows and broken glass and doesn't get hurt once. I'm trusting him. He's a super agent.
You trust a man whose hair doth not get dirty or shaken?
Yeah.
It doth not get dirty.
The only thing that got dirty was his jacket. That's why he had to ditch it and halfway
What
through
is
the
his
game.
secret?
Maybe it's Maybelline.
Fuck.
It's
I guess they were right the whole time.
It's marmalade.
It's more really... Markiplier shoving butter in his hair.
Yeah.
Forget your makeup or something?
You think because we are isolated in the mountains that we have lack of access to books?
Do you believe that because we reside in the mountains that we are deprived of books?
His name is Kukulkan.
And they call him Kukulkan, the serpent leader god. Not master, not leader. How do you know that? Do you believe that because we reside in the mountains that we are deprived of books? God, I love M'Baku. He had none of the bullshit in that movie.
Fuck. He's great. He's fucking great.
Now, when you get into like monster movies, do you believe Scooby-Doo is considered horror?
To a point.
I mean, Scrappy Doo's pretty bad.
Yeah.
Fuck. James Gunn ruined Scrappy Doo so fucking bad.
And Jellystone brought it back by killing him off.
Oh, did they?
Yeah, and remember that was the
Talk
first
about
episode.
Tell you about that.
I didn't see the fucking the Scrappy Doo kill.
Because it's just a missing poster. Like, have you seen him? It's just
Oh, that.
Scrappy-Doo.
Okay. All right.
Yeah, because it was supposed to say he's dead, but instead they put missing because they couldn't kill off a character. But yeah, he's supposed to be dead.
Jellystone's such a garbage TV show. God, he showed me the first episode and I was like, oh, fuck, kill me fucking now. Oh my god.
And at the end of the episode, I'm like, you ready for episode 2? I'm like,
No. Maybe.
Wasn't that good? Because I thought Jellystone's the guy who made Chowder.
Is it? Why? Is that why it feels like chowder?
The new one, yeah.
Okay. So that's why it feels like chowder. It feels like
Okay,
chowder
okay.
trying too hard.
kidding around. I'm just kidding around.
I've seen some good bits out of it. I guess I haven't seen the whole thing.
There are some like jokes I genuinely did kind of chuckle at.
So it sounds like it's the equivalent of Teen Titans Go then.
Kinda, yeah.
Okay, yes.
It's got its moments, but like overall, it's kind of garbage.
So,
No! Oh. Okay.
PlayStation said, "Oh,
Didn't hear that. Try again.
oh, by Ludacris."
Oh.
Yeah, that's kind of what the lights out monster looked like. in
Jeez,
short.
fuck that.
Yeah,
Uh-oh.
SpaghettiOs.
Shit.
But what would you consider the worst level of horror then?
The worst
Because
level
we've
of
already gone over what we consider to be
Oh, boo-hoo.
some of the best ones. No. What would you consider to be the easiest or cop-out level of horror?
So, easiest or the worst level of horror? I don't think I ever gave the best level of horror.
Well, that's what we were saying. What to good horror? Like that's what I think we were trying to say for what we
Right.
felt was the best.
So I
Because I
thought,
think it ended up on Jimmy.
to me personally, I thought elevated horror was probably actually the best reason for
Well,
it.
see, he said elevated horror. I said the paranormal, psychological horror.
Personally, on my end, I have a bias though, because I love Lovecraft. I love the aspects that he brings into his fucking writing. It's like he gives you just enough information to lead you on and make your own assumptions about the monster without giving you like straight away what the monster is. That's not what Lovecraft is. Lovecraft is like he plays with your mind a little bit, and that sort of comes from him growing up in Rhode Island, surrounded by all of these tales of like what was it, the New England witch trials and everything.
Well, the man lived in Rhode Island. What else was there to do?
Fuck. Yeah.
Even Vermont had maple syrup, man.
Shit. So no, did he live in Rhode Island? I think he did. Yeah, he lived in Rhode Island, and then he lived in New York for a while with a breadwinning wife, and then he got divorced when he was like almost on his deathbed because he died at 40.
You stopped winning bread, you fat whore. Get out of my house.
But then that extended into a weirder part of his life because he got his wife actually started dating what is Aleister Crowley. There we go.
Mr. Crown.
Mr. Crown.
Oh, what's the worst horror?
But like as far as how Lovecraftian horror goes, it's mainly like the fear of the unknown and giving your audience just enough to make somewhat a conclusion about what the terror is without exposing the terror fully. And to me, not knowing what's going on, it's fucking scary, especially like when you get into things like The Gate. The Gate is a good example of that. What's the fucking movie that was just released not too long ago? Like, it had a lot of triangle symbology. It was like what the fuck? It was a gateway, or was it like? It was. I think Dead Meat did an episode on it, where it was like these fucking cultists were coming in with these triangles over white masks or something.
It's called Squid Game.
Fucking damn it! You two were on point with that shit.
I have the triangle mask in my room, man.
I think you said triangle on their head. I mean, that's the only conclusion you come to.
But all in all, for Lovecraftian horror, what would be a good example of Lovecraftian horror that people would know about specifically? I mean, Underwater was a good one, but that was mainly just like a creature feature with legitimate Cthulhu on screen. Oh, fuck. Evil Dead. Evil Dead is really good about that because, like, we don't know what the Deadites are specifically. Like, it just says that they're like reanimated corpses.
Well, because the Deadites are caused from the literal thing called the Unstoppable Force.
Yes, and the Unstoppable Force is never explained. It's just a god, essentially.
It's a thing that's only manifested if someone reads out of the book of the Necronomicon.
Right. And the Necronomicon is like...
It's
in Lovecraft.
Well, no, it's like, and the evils existed from like, what, like 200?
It's existed like almost always, right?
No, it was like 200 AD or something like that. Whenever the book was first made.
Right.
I don't know, it's like hard to explain like what exactly it is because they never really do explain like super hard into it. It's just kind of like vague-ish, you know. But there's like some telling to it, but not all much telling to it.
Or like The Thing is another Lovecraftian horror movie. It's like very like space. We don't know what the thing is that's hunting us. It is an alien. It's not of this planet. But all we need to it focuses on other things rather than the origin. Like, we don't care where this thing is coming from. It's going to fucking die. We need to fucking live through this. And the thing is almost like god tier powerful.
Right.
At least that's what I feel. I think that's fucking terrifying, especially like not knowing what you're up against, essentially. Like, even if you can make it through. The Professional was great. Well, sorry, we're looking through movies really quick.
And Final Fantasy.
But like we were saying, the worst level of horror, Judy.
That's tough. I think probably the worst ones that have to be is either. I can't even say it's like a genre either because it's not really a genre. It's just usually just bad movies in general. Like something that's like, like a Guess Who type of like horror story, but it's like it's very obvious who did it from the very beginning, and it's just really shittily told. Whatever.
Donnie Darko.
Fuck.
I hate Donnie Darko. That's a shit ass movie.
Donnie Darko, I like the movie, but I think it's pretentious as hell.
People were praising it like this is the greatest movie. It's like, this movie fucking blows. It's really dumb. And how did it end? Oh yeah, there's just a wormhole. They just have to take a fucking plane engine and slam it through his bedroom.
They were trying to explain it as like it's like God's like what was it? God's tracking, essentially. Like, it's basically everyone has a predetermined future, and everyone has like a way around their life, and they all leave a line of where they're gonna be and where they've been.
Or like that's exactly like why people have a vague sense of how they know each other, or like
Essentially, yeah.
I didn't like that.
Like we could have known each other in another life just because you've passed each other in a different area of the world or something.
That movie I put next to with what's it called?
Freaked me out for a second.
But that's a movie I probably put next to with oh god.
Anything with Will Ferrell.
Fuck.
Well, I was just gonna say that movie I was just talking about.
her dad. Bye,
I
Snowball.
was trying to think. What was that movie I was just talking about? That it didn't hit me, but I liked it. But I think Smile did it a lot better. It was
Damn it. Get Out.
no, not Get Out. The one with the kid that's clicking a lot.
Oh, The Grudge?
Not The Grudge. No, not the horror. The family that's just like kind of weird. Like the little daughter's like clicking a whole lot with her tongue, and then she gets her head fucking smashed out by a telephone pole as they're driving home. She's
Hereditary.
Hereditary. I think it's something like
That was horror. I would say that's
no.
horror.
I'm saying I put that next to Donnie Darko.
Oh, okay.
I'm just
He's saying that was horrible.
yes.
Yeah.
Although I can tell Hereditary is not the worst movie. It's definitely not by a long shot.
As a drama, I'd say it's a decent movie.
I think it was interesting, but I thought a lot of it was just funny. Just because, like, a lot of
Just like, were you laughing when like the fucking like pole came? It was like,
no, because like a lot of the horror effects they tried to do was so shitty. It was fucking terrible. I laughed at nearly all of it.
fair. Okay.
It was bad. It wasn't even that good. Especially when she sawed off her own head with the fucking piano wire. Just it's like come on, you can't. You're telling me you cannot like find that like somewhat endearing that she just like has like all these goofy faces or like.
Dude, Lindsay
It's just not that well
Hereditary
done.
was the dumbest fucking thing ever made.
Did you think that too?
Yes. Especially because of the piano wire scene. I'm like, yo, I get that. Like,
I was in a Discord call watching with friends and all my online buddies were like, this is terrifying. I was like, look at this stupid shit, man.
Look at this shit, man.
It's like, I get that this bitch is going crazy. I get that she has mental problems and everything's going down. Cool. She's gonna have a freak out or two. But the whole goofy aspect.
And I think that's another one that does it poorly is bad psychological horror because it's like it doesn't portray it well enough in some aspects, and like that's the cop out too. It's like, oh well, it wasn't psychological horror; it was actually this ancient curse.
It was actually real.
No, it's actually this ancient curse that's passed down from this family because it's like whatever.
Like that's where everyone.
That's why it's hereditary.
Well, that's where everyone's like, well, that's elevated horror. You just didn't get it.
See, and that's what Joel and Courtney and the others give me shit about Smile. It's like I get the message, I get it that because it beats you over the head that it's fucking mental illness, but despite that, I thought it was kind of slow. But even then, what sold the movie to me was that it just how characters acted. I think how every character was portrayed in Smile was fantastic.
Like it was an appropriate reaction to what was going on.
And that's
actually.
I think that actually brings it up. I think probably psychological horror is one of the easiest ways to fuck up a film.
Yeah.
Because again, the only thing that saved it for me for Smile was that how characters reacted to the main character being affected. It wasn't like something like Hereditary where it's like, oh, these characters are like got some kind of quirky things, or some of the family members are just kind of quirky and they're just doing kind of weird things. And that's how Hereditary was. Because the little daughter was always kind of weird and quirky, and then the kids started picking up because it was that was a cop out. This is actually just this ultimate evil because of whatever the religion was, and because that was hereditary. Because it's passed down from family member to family member.
Okay. All right.
I think that's probably one of the cop-outs. It's just like, oh, it was actually this unrelenting force this whole time. It's like, boo.
See, and to add on to that, another way you could say psychological horror is an easy cop-out or something so pathetically easy and dumb to do. Look at Hellraiser 4, 5, 6, and 7.
Well, I don't think he was saying that it was pathetically easy and like dumb to do. It was just like it's easy to fuck up, like if you do it wrong. Is that what I'm getting at? Or?
I say that's probably one of the worst ways you can do a horror movie is easily fucking up a psychological film.
Okay, yeah, like
And
if you fuck up a psychological horror, you
fuck
ruin
that
your
up.
movie.
And that's why I think Smile actually excelled at. Even though I still didn't like a lot of it, I know it's a really good film.
See, like I said, you got Hellraiser 4, 5, 6, and 7
Okay.
before they reshot everything and you got the new one that was actually really good. 4, 5, 6, and 7
Still haven't watched that new one, by the way.
4, 5, 6, and 7 were never meant to be Hellraiser movies. They were meant to be their own underground released movies that the studio had bought the script to, and just rewrote some things to where Pinhead appeared the last 5-10 minutes. Had nothing to do with Hellraiser at all, except the last 5-10 minutes.
What were those movies supposed to be anyway?
Mistrust. One of them was like a mistrusting cop who was bad and just on the beat. Something you'd find on like TNT or USA Network.
It's like a revamp of fucking Maniac Cop or something like that.
Some dumb shit like that. Like he's cheating on his wife.
I fucking like Maniac Cop though.
With hookers and doing drugs and shit. He's a crooked cop and blah blah blah.
He's got blackjack and hookers.
Doesn't spend time with his kid. Or another one was they have this spooky online game that they follow that's supposed to aspect like a cult, but they made it to where they're trying to solve the lament configuration online.
So that cult thing actually happened in like a fucking old video game chat room. There was just like a cult that was just happening on like one of these fucking chat rooms, and they had recently found it. And
well, see, something like that, yeah, I kind of understood it, but to just throw the puzzle box in, to just throw the Cenobites in, it's something so easy to fuck up. And a lot of those movies had nothing to do with psychological horror. They just call it that because it was associated with Hellraiser the last 5 minutes.
And even Hellraiser isn't even much of a psychological horror.
Like, if you watch the first two, hell yeah,
the first two, definitely. But, like, the concept of Hellraiser after that is, like, what was it? Again, it would be, like, body augmentation, essentially. And, like, the sensory, like, abilities of anyone that was looking for
pleasure and pain.
Pleasure and pain, exactly.
But,
I mean, that's the whole point of the box.
Like, I do kind of understand where he's coming from. I agree a lot that psychological horror is something so easy to fuck up and ruin, which a lot of times, even if it's a slasher movie, they try to make it psychological and fuck with you.
Yeah.
And 9 times out of 10, there is that rare time where I'm like, fuck, they nailed this. And they will fuck it up, and the movie could be alright and just be like, I might watch this again if it's on or something, or someone says, hey, do a marathon of these. Alright, cool. But until the end comes out and you're like, that's fucking it? That's all they do?
So, in that vein, what movie do you think did psychological horror very well?
Scream.
Other than Scream.
Solely because of the whodunit shit, but psychological horror that did it well. I think When a Stranger Calls.
Oh, fuck, yeah.
Well.
Which one, the remake or the...
The remake was okay, it had its moments, but I do think that the original fucking hit different.
He's in the house! It's just like...
Yeah, he's calling from the basement. He's fucking...
I didn't fucking think of that shit!
Yeah, man.
That
first movie's really good. That's like
that movie that fucked with me a lot. I've only seen that shit.
I've only seen the first Scream movie and the last Scream movie, and that first Scream movie is still really good.
It is.
Even after I've only seen it, like, what, 3 years ago? It's like, yeah, it's pretty effective.
Oh, yeah.
Right?
Have you seen When a Stranger Calls?
No.
Dude, you want to have nightmares.
Or, like, even psychological horror, like, it gets a little fantastical, but I thought Child's Play kind of did it okay, because you're thinking, like...
The first one. The first one, definitely.
Yes, because it was from the point of view of someone little. It was from the point... Every time something
died...
It's
the kid aspect again, yeah.
You had the point of view of someone who was low to the ground. You could tell, like, maybe it's not Chucky.
Maybe Andy's going crazy. Like, maybe he has a multiple personality thing or something like that.
Yeah, maybe, or something like that. Or psychological horror, Split.
Fuck.
That's a really good one. I haven't thought about Split in a good second. So I know we talked about it briefly in the very
Beast.
beginning.
Shit.
And then
Split's a really good one.
Then for it to come back and be connected to Unbreakable.
Like a superhero movie, essentially.
And
The Samaritan.
I see.
But to have
culture.
But then to have something like that break down, and I think Split was only PG-13, I don't remember.
I think so. Then you bring it back for Glass at the end.
Yeah, even Glass was good.
Glass was fantastic.
Because I still haven't watched that. It's on my fucking DVD pile.
We should have like all 3 movies and watch them like together. I would be really down to that.
I knew it. I'm like, wasn't this a trilogy? I could have sworn it was. Unbreakable was the second one.
It was like almost like an unconnected trilogy, but then you connected at the last minute. Essentially,
it was Unbreakable, then Split, then Glass. I have the trilogy here somewhere.
So again, I know I have Glass in my DVD.
Unbreakable was really good. Split is fucking fantastic.
It is.
And then Glass is like a really good conclusion of the story.
Gotcha. Because again, I know I have Glass sitting on my shelf. waiting to watch. But it's like I knew there was like I could have sworn
Samuel
there was
Jackson
another-
plays the role so fucking well. Oh my god.
It was like I knew there was another movie between those two, so it was before that. So it was Unbreakable. Gotcha.
Okay,
So I am interested in
I
that.
got the trilogy right down there by R.I.P.D. and the Autopsy.
Split is almost divorced from the two movies just because it takes such a hard left into horror, and then it like reconnects like 75% of the left in the movie. Like,
Well, it reconnected right at the last scene after Casey was rescued, and the Beast relieved himself for her because he saw the body scars on her that she was abused. She was imperfect.
okay.
And the imperfect,
That's right.
and to him, the imperfects ruled the world because the perfect people ruined them.
That's right. I
And-
forgot about that.
Because of those haunting fucking flashbacks she has with her uncle, finding out that dad's dead because of her uncle, and just to keep with your sexual abuser. It really fucked. But what I loved more than anything in that movie, and it's gonna sound, if people leave comments on this, I could tell it now. They're gonna say
this is all opinions, and this is like you can have your own opinion, but this is our own. And
They're gonna call me woke. They're gonna call me stupid. In that case, fuck you. I don't like you anyway. But they made Casey fucking smart.
You stupid woke bastard! Shut up!
I'm leaving.
They made this girl ready to fuck somebody up, and she had everything prepped. Like when he charged in there and he was gonna grab her, when he was gonna grab the other girl,
Yeah.
and she like fumbled onto her. She was telling her like, "Piss on yourself. He's not gonna show interest if you're dirty. Do that." And she had game plans for all this shit because she's gone through that with her uncle.
That's what I like about horror. So that's another good thing about certain horror movies is that they make the victims smart. When they make the victims smart, it's more believable, and it makes you root for the actual like survivors of the movie a lot more. That's what I like about certain slasher movies rather than other slasher movies. Like 80s slasher movies, they always make the teenagers dumb, or a lot of the time they make the teenagers dumb.
Well,
Yeah.
teenagers, but like
Tommy Jarvis is a. I'm right over here. Here, hold on a second.
like when it came to Sidney Prescott, she's like, "Oh, I don't."
She went to the bathroom.
Like, I don't believe in this. Like, why run upstairs when you just run out the front door? Yes, she runs upstairs 10 seconds later. You're ruining the podcast.
I know. Well, see that she's got my spot. To kind of bring it back, though, to bring it back to Split in that sort of sense, it's like, yeah, and that's what I'm talking about, where it's like, you can make the hero survive, but you don't have to make like, oh, we have to kill the ultimate evil. And I totally forgot about Split, and Split's a good version of that too, where it's like she's trying all these ways to get this certain personality out so that it'd help her leave the whole place, right? And it's like I think that's another good way of doing it too, and also bring it back again to The Grudge. I know I haven't seen any of the Grudge movies. The only one I've seen was ever The Grudge versus the Ring, and that was as goofy as it was. I can tell they brought in a lot of aspects from both movies.
Yeah.
Like how certain characters being affected by this certain thing. And then other character, the one character also watches The Ring, and then she ends up killing herself later or whatever. And then it's like, oh, then my friends bet me and all that. Mm-hmm. It's like, I understand that. It's like, I think that's also another, I think probably The Grudge and The Ring are probably another version of like elevated horror. Where it's like, yeah, it's pretty good and effective. Whereas, like, it's fucking with you the whole time, right? Mm-hmm. But they're also trying to figure out how to stop it. But then again, that also gets to the unstoppable evil,
Yeah, very, very true.
right? But again, I think it definitely does it a lot better than something like Donnie Darko, where it's just
Where you have to watch the director's cut to understand because you have missing elements, but still.
really, oh god,
Oh yeah, dude, the director's cut had like, much like with Batman vs Superman, that extra half hour had a lot of shit that explained everything.
oh boy,
Like, they had a good scene that was like 10 minutes long that described everything that was there. What the portals meant, how it worked, how to go around it, what it could be. I'm like, yeah, they could have left that in there. You call it boring, sure, but fuck me. You understand some things.
See, when something like that helps it make more sense, then I think that's more of a requirement than something like, oh, you just don't get the message. It's like, because it wasn't obvious enough. Nothing really made sense.
Like, some movies don't like, unfortunately, it's an easy thing for me to shit on, but like with Marvel movies, a lot of the shit is spoon-fed to you. It's all there to where you're like, okay, I just turned my brain off. I don't have to think.
Yeah.
But you have other movies out there, much like Donnie Darko or others of the like, to where you have to sit down and think like, okay, well, this person was here, but they also explained it like that. You're trying to solve puzzles in your head.
Yeah.
And some things like that are fun to watch, but it can get really irritating on your mind, man.
Yeah, especially when it's like, when someone like me who's like not looking for like a super deep message. Especially when you're someone like me who's not looking for like a super deep message to be like, oh, well, it's a super deep, like thought-provoking movie when it's like the message isn't like really that supposed to be strong anyways. And it's like, I don't ever look for that kind of thing. Usually what I want to look for is something that's usually captivating in some way, not something that makes you go like, did you think in this 4D chess way? No? Get fucked, loser. Wait for the director's cut to make it more obvious. Like, damn it. And I don't know if I want to wait for the director's cut.
Right? Fuck, some of these things just... It's sad. Forgive us. Old Squeaky's probably in the bathroom, so we got about an hour.
Which will probably, that's where we'll end it, because he won't come out till that next hour.
I decided to mark her territory on the bathroom floor.
Oh, Luna decided to pee.
Wow. Good girl. So she's hiding in the blanket.
You know, because I went in there to try to mark my territory, but then I looked down, I'm like, someone beat me.
Well, what are you doing pissing on the floor?
There's too much pee! It's gonna flood the first floor neighbors.
Speaking of the neighbors.
They're drowning right now in the pee.
I think they're telling us to shut up.
I think that's the horror movie. Next one coming in is the roof. The attic somehow full of pee and it won't stop. It keeps leaking. It's like the fucking SpongeBob episode.
Those dumb movies like the whatever bong and then
Oh, Killer
evil,
Bong.
The evil bong and Ginger Dead Man.
Yeah.
Or Puppet Master at this point.
Yeah.
or the semen little monster things.
Oh, that one.
Chillerama.
And
The one that Lolo thinks is the greatest movie ever made.
No, is it that one? I thought it was killer sperm, whatever it was. The one that it's like that gigantic sperm that comes out of that fucking dude.
I'm not the one who's so
Yeah, you have a string on your pants, that's why.
Dr. Squiggles. What's
yeah,
that?
dude, it's so old.
What's that movie called? The one with the gigantic sperm that comes out of the dude, and it's like
Oh, it's Godzilla.
Godzilla. There it is.
Oh, for God's sake.
Chillerama.
Oh, it is called Chillerama.
Yeah, Lolo will not stop fucking praising that goddamn movie.
And yeah, he wants to shit on me because I think Hitman was a good movie.
Fuck. I like Chillerama because it's bad. And because Godzilla's a fucking hilarious
He
fucking
also
joke.
thinks Lamageddon deserves Oscars.
That was a fucking joke and he knows it. Jesus Christ.
Lamageddon was a great movie, don't get me
I
wrong.
love fucking Lamageddon, don't worry. It is $1 million movie.
However,
But is it $1 Million Man?
And then watching Krampus yesterday.
Fuck.
we had
Back
a
to
long
Krampus.
discussion here before we even started the shit last night.
Is this still going?
Yes.
Fuck yeah. We're talking about Krampus now.
No.
No.
Yes.
To go back in the closet and burn.
Fuck. I liked the movie. I thought it was fun.
The only thing that was just gold in that movie was the fucking old ant going all like, see you all in hell. That's the only thing.
He just shot his wife with the 22.
Oh no!
Yo, if you're making that noise when it shoots into your wife's hand,
Take off your ring.
take off your ring. Okay, you're gonna soil it! That shit wasn't cheap!
Talk about it was only $100.
It was cubic. It was zirconia.
This is 50.
Okay, you found it on the floor in the mall.
Yeah.
Is that Coles?
Yeah, I was gonna say, it was that cold.
On the floor in the mall.
On the floor of the mall, yeah.
For me, I found mine on the floor at work.
Oh shit.
And that was just the desk and that was just the table.
Oh yeah, was it one of those like big old metal pieces or something like that from like packaging?
No, it's those round metal pieces there at the end of table chairs
Oh shit.
in school.
I didn't know
Yeah,
dog was-
it just somehow fit in my fucking
I
hand
seen that. I'm
perfectly.
like, huh?
Yeah, this is a pea monster.
No, I just saw movement. And also,
Hell,
I
and I
didn't know
lost
that
mine
was
at
there.
the
So I'm
bar.
like, huh?
That's the pea monster.
I was
She's
like, what
here.
are you doing? I was like,
The pea monster.
I was like, what are you doing? Tricks with your dick? I'm
No,
like,
the flash one I still have.
If my dick was way
lost-
over here,
I
I'd
lost
be
my
very
Deadpool
impressed.
one
Like,
at
it's
the
like,
village
what?
somewhere.
Okay, all right. Was it in the middle of the brawl?
No, that's at the tea room. The village was when we all got together with Michael and Carlos walked.
It's the one
through-
where Aquatropics used to be.
Yeah, right behind Taco Bell.
Okay, yeah.
And I lost my Deadpool ring there somewhere.
Yep.
Okay.
And then I started getting my other Christianity ring on there, and that fucked off too. I'm like, well, looks like Christianity's not for me. I mean, I left Christianity long ago. It's only fair it leaves me. So, I mean, in the Bible, doth it not say eye for eye, tooth for tooth, blood for blood?
I mean, should I
Skin for
not
bread.
be ordering you a Judaism ring like that is in the mail?
That was
Look,
skin
in
for
2
crackers.
weeks.
Look,
Well,
all,
that's the bread.
look, all I'm saying
It's the bread they
is,
can afford.
Potato, potato, potato.
when you're at the
What?
Last
A
Supper,
cracker up bread.
A
when
blood
you're at the
wine.
Last Supper and Jesus
Oh.
says, "This bread is my
You're
body,
telling me I could just.
this wine is my blood."
At least Jesus could.
However, this mayonnaise,
At least Jesus made this.
Oh,
Well, we know Jesus is made of pure wine.
All right, so where were we at before we left?
He was just going over what he felt was the easiest horror / cop out horror to do.
And what did you say?
He was going
Shitty
with the-
psychological horror movies.
cock block. Hey, get out of the chicken. I don't care.
I'll throw a fucking phone at you, cat. That was $40.
You don't talk back.
Again, for something like Donnie Darko, I think is probably a good way to probably portray it.
shit.
Where it's something that's like trying to make you on this trying to make you think on this 4D chess level. And it's like, you didn't get it? Well, I can't believe you didn't get it. That's your fault. So you gotta wait for director's cut now to actually think about the movie because you didn't understand the message.
So you hate woke horror.
No, I don't. No, because I don't like horror movies that have to make you think so hard about find out what the true message of the movie is. I rather find a movie.
See, he likes elevated horror, but where Donnie Darko is on top of that, where it's advanced horror. And too much.
It's trying to make it so complicated to make it so that people don't figure it out.
But see,
And
it
then
is a
when
mo-
everybody, if you can't figure it out, it's like, oh, you're not smart enough to figure this shit
But see,
out.
the problem with Donnie Darko is I don't find the horror in it. I don't know where the horror is. What am I supposed to be scared of? All I see is this fucking teenager being a shit.
I see him like arguing fucking Smurf semantics to his other fucking shit to Seth Rogen.
And then he gets blasted by a fucking airplane by a fucking airplane thing, yeah. By a wormhole, so it teleports on top of his house and crushes him.
And Donnie Darko's in a fucking like, what was it, Frank the Rabbit's just in a fucking rabbit suit, and he's just like, come here, Donnie, let's go on a wild ride, man.
Turns out it was that fucking Indian kid. Dressed as a rabbit the whole
and
time.
it's just like, hello, Donnie.
It's the Indian kid who's got shot in the eye from Donnie. Wow, it was him the whole time.
It was him who killed me.
Why do I sound like Bane?
I don't know where you're going from, man.
God bless you, Harley Quinn.
But yeah, something like Donnie Darko, I don't get it because if it's supposed to be heightened horror, Donnie Darko's a terrible example for me because I don't see the horror aspect in it at all.
It's
just a
movie-
very weird movie
Yeah,
to me.
because it
To me,
basically.
it is a movie made by Rick and Morty fans for Rick and Morty fans. Those people who think they're smart because they watch smart things. And they'll take it out on you because you didn't get it. Like with all the fans. saying,
Yeah, exactly.
Well, Rick and Morty's just advanced humor. You don't understand.
Or you need like a 200 IQ to understand Rick and Morty or something like that.
See, I don't need to because Rick and Morty's just blatantly obvious that it's not that smart of a show.
Rick and Morty's just stupid.
Exactly, that's the point. Donnie Darko, I don't see the point of Donnie Darko. That's the problem.
Pretty good.
Hey, my cuz.
What's
Guess
up?
what, my cuz? You think that's enough?
Man, you came a lot.
Hey, look, she needs it for her hands.
Bro!
Yo, did you get that from the cat?
God damn it.
I got something to tell you.
You're coming on the cat too?
Bro, that's so much.
We've created life. Well, you need a lot to absorb into your knuckles, honey, for one to heal.
So the cat's name went.
Rub it
Do
in.
I have enough, Kyle?
Rub it in.
Do I have enough?
Go
Rub in the Eucerin.
Go elbow deep, damn it. Do what I tell you to do from the door when it's closed. Elbow deep. Now, on that jump though,
Well, so now the cat's name went from street to puddle.
Fuck.
Bukak.
Bookie, come here. It's an elephant bukkake party.
Oh, Bookie.
A bookie bookie.
I got a surprise for you.
But I mean, the whole purpose of the movie is like it's a if so scenario. It's either if he survives, the chick fucking dies, and if he died, she lives.
It's showing that everything's predetermined, though.
Well, the same thing could be
Both
said
things
for
have happened.
both. Same thing could be said for the newest shitty Thor movie, but
Or Final Destination.
yeah, but
That was the whole. That was the whole
Final
thing. That,
Destination works.
well, see, because that's the whole thing of Final Destination that you're
Like that one, yeah,
that
that
you
one's
can't prevent
scary.
your death because it's fucking predetermined.
That one just made me paranoid.
then
going
if you,
a tangent
then if
bit.
you escape,
Well, I mean, everyone paranoid behind
the log
driving
trucks?
behind a log truck. Exactly.
Yeah, fuck that.
yeah, and that still works today.
It does.
You can't. So Final Destination works and is a good movie, and is a good example
Like,
of psychological thriller
Compared to Donnie Darko, yeah, that one I would believe could possibly happen. Well, not could possibly happen, but like it plays off like normal things that happen every day, and you don't think about. Just like
Right.
the log truck thing. Like everyone's driven behind the log truck. You're not supposed to, but everyone does it
Right.
because of that fucking reason. Because like that can happen. That has happened before, and it fucking sucks.
You know what? Actually, you know what? Can actually probably come back in that sort of sense. We'll talk about it. New Final Destination could probably come back, except don't make it about like, oh, teenagers are like off on their off days and like, oh, they gotta stop.
It's like
this bad
adults
thing.
that are just coming home from work or something like that.
Yeah, it's like that because that was the most common thing. Like the guy who got hit with the fucking nail gun. It's like it's a workplace accident. That's what a lot of those things are. A lot of things that happen in real life, and it's like you're not expecting me because it's a workplace accident. Oh, I accidentally wore long sleeves when I'm supposed to wear fucking short sleeves. Well now my arm's caught in here, and there goes my arm.
So he's basically saying that Chevy Chase's Christmas Vacation is like the best example of like an adult version, like adult characters version of Final Destination.
Who, me?
What?
Are you talking about me saying that?
I thought you were. Weren't you saying that?
I wasn't saying Christmas Vacation was a good horror movie. What the fuck are you talking about? Yeah, you know when
Examples,
you know when you put the fucking super cookie oil flew down the mountain at 9 million an hour. That's so realistic, Darren.
I want that in the next Final Destination movie.
When he's flying
I
down.
want to have like fucking spray Pam on the bottom of a fucking trash can and watch me fucking go.
When he's flying down the highway, about to get hit by a school bus. That's my favorite part, okay?
I want to start fucking pumping a fucking storm sewer full of shit and just watch it fucking go up.
It makes a bunch of toxic ooze.
It makes the ooze from TMNT.
Makes the toxic Avengers down there, goddammit.
Oh, by the way, is Toxic Avenger a horror movie or is that like more of a revenge movie?
That's just a black comedy,
Come here.
I mean, you're not wrong.
or more
You
considered
gave me the
black
whole
horror.
damn bottle.
So yeah, no, I think you're wrong. I wasn't saying Christmas Vacation was a horror movie. No.
No, he's saying like more of a good example of what it could represent with an adult's version of Final Destination.
Just like normal everyday things that people are doing, and then just like, oops, I stapled my shirt to the roof. Oops,
Oh, in that
like
sense.
the ladder's giving way. Oops, I gotta fucking rearrange myself. Oops, I've hung myself on the roof.
See, the one I'm thinking of is mostly when CJ's showing those fucking videos of little workplace accidents. That's the one I'm thinking.
Yeah, okay.
I'm really thinking of when CJ shows those videos where like the guy gets stuck in like a fucking rotor and like, oh, there goes his whole body. He's just fucking mincemeat now.
Or like the fucking video where like someone just tripped and then they fucking got run over by a bus.
That too, or the guy who's like working in the steel factory and the fucking hot steel just flies right at him.
Oh god, that one fucks with me
It's
a
like,
little bit.
it's like, how could you ever think or prevent that when it literally just happens out of nowhere? Like, that's a little Final Destination thing. That's the whole point of Final Destination.
Unlike Final Destination, I think three's with the roller coaster, right?
3D, yes.
Where it's like it's the guy with the obsession with his truck, and then the motor flies in and then fucking takes his head off.
But it wasn't even his truck. It was the fucking.
It was the guy
truck
behind it,
him.
right?
Yeah.
Like it stops instantly, and the fucking engine just flies out.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I mean. Like, you have to make it sound like more like ordinary. That's what makes it scary, and not something like stupidly goofy. When you look back and I'm like, wait, that can't fucking happen.
The one that seems outlandish, but like can fucking like happen, sort of. The one where he's in the weight room, like
Also, the weights dude.
Yeah, the weights dude. I believe that fucking might be possible. Well, you would be stupid to hang up those fucking swords right above a machine or something like that. But
Well, then I think the weight machine, when you're going like this, I don't think the weights fly towards you at all. I think they just go straight up and down too.
they should, like, because it's a counterbalance.
Exactly.
Essentially.
They don't fucking swing with you with your momentum.
Fuck.
That'd be terrible. That'd be a terrible flaw design.
Takes you out because the machine's broken.
You're working too hard. This is how we get rid of the bodybuilders.
You didn't read the out of order sign.
Right, so like shit like that. Like that's just like kind of goofy in a sense.
Huh? Oh yeah, sorry. Emergency napkins.
So I think something like that, like as a psychological horror movie that could probably come back, probably Final Destination, just make it more realistic, where it's just like, yeah, that could just happen. That's the scary part.
Like, you
Like,
don't have to go too outlandish with Final Destination. It's just like normal shit. It would freak people out.
Yeah.
Just like going to the beach, like Jaws did.
and maybe people would probably find it as maybe like a, like what was it? Was it called like shock films?
Shock stinger films, essentially.
Yeah, it was like, oh, you're just trying to be shocking. It's like, no, that's just how it is. That's
This
how it
shit
is
happens.
sometimes. Exactly. It's just how
It's
it
just
happens.
framed around like death's just making it happen more often.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, essentially.
Death
right?
just has it up for everyone. So yeah,
I love
get
Death
it.
in that movie because he's such a cheeky bastard. He started playing Mousetrap after a few movies.
He's like, you didn't win.
Although by the end of the last movie, you realize it's the first movie, and then you're like, "Oh shit, this all connects."
Is that how that is?
Yeah, like
Oh.
by the end, you realize you're on the same plane from the first movie.
Huh. So it's an endless cycle.
Essentially.
So wait, wouldn't that mean that?
Well, not necessarily. It's like all the characters are basically dead.
Oh, okay. Sorry, I think you mean like.
Everyone dies eventually.
Well, they saying like the fifth movie ties in back with the first movie. Like
Yes, because the fifth movie technically is in the past. It's it's like the weird setup.
So that means the fourth movie technically.
The fourth
last
movie is technically the most in the future, I believe.
Okay. Sorry, I think you meant like they all tied in with another. So I was like, what? Does that mean it's technically like a limbo movie, like
It's
Ouroboros?
not necessarily.
Okay, sorry. Sorry,
I explained that wrong.
No,
Sorry.
that's fine. No, I was hearing it wrong, honestly. So that's my fact. That was my fact.
That was my fan.
That was my fight.
Sorry, you seem like you're not enjoying yourself, Kai.
Huh? No, I'm hearing the cat and I'm going over some of that and I'm trying to reprocess Final Destination all in my head because I don't think I watched all of the last one, so.
Okay.
I know I've
That
only
was
seen
one
it,
with the laser eye surgery and shit.
Yeah.
and I know I've only seen
And
a
then
few
the car
of
that
them,
fucking falls in that chick's face.
Yeah, and then it starts on the bridge, that one, right?
I think so.
Fifth one?
It's like either starts or it's like.
I think you're talking about
movie.
I think you're talking about when the NASCAR.
No, I was talking about like when she falls into the river, like off the bridge, and then she
Oh, okay.
survives somehow, and then the fucking car falls on her.
Yeah.
It's like literally
That's
like a
pretty
like double fucking whammy where she's just like,
Psych.
"Hey, I'm good.
Like, psych, you fucking thought.
You fucking thought, bitch.
Quite literally go back to quite literally going back to death, going, you didn't win. You didn't win, fucker.
That's what we in the biz call a pro gamer move.
But, nah, because I'm really starting to understand what he's talking about now with psychological horror and
Yeah.
the different aspects and what works, what doesn't.
Like Donnie Darko is a poor example of psychological horror, while Final Destination is actually pretty decent.
I still think that the biggest winner on that one was probably Split.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Absolutely.
But I would have to say, though, the easiest one, just because it's inexpensive, and it's fucking awful every time. Every single found footage movie I've ever seen irritates the dog shit out of me.
Yeah, I
It'll
can
give
see that.
give you a headache about 20 minutes in. You almost don't care anymore. And much like every not Final Destination, goddamn you people, but almost every Paranormal Activity movie, it's an hour and 40 minutes. They could be spent doing fuck anything else. Nothing happens until the last 10 minutes. Then it goes balls to the wall. Then nothing happens. An
That's true.
instant Sopranos cut. The only time a found footage movie worked was Cloverfield, but that's because it was a high budget found footage movie.
Except, did you like Blair Witch Project?
No.
You didn't like that one?
I understood, much like how he agreed that
With Smile. Right? Or you want something different?
I think that's your biodome thing.
Oh, thank God.
Because Luna's right there.
I was like, I thought it was Zelda for a second peeing on fucking Juby's coat, and I was
Man,
like,
that's a lot of
I want to kill this fucking cat!
You want to see a lot of piss? I can piss like this loud. Check it out.
But no, like
Someone pouring a water bottle out.
she's good.
She's good. You guys suck.
Who let the horse out?
No.
That's true. Fucking scary movie.
too. But nah, because I get that it's a good movie. I get that it's traditional is not the right word, but a spectacle and a spotlight on the genre of horror.
Yeah.
But it's not something I fucking dug.
Okay.
And
I get that. I totally get that.
I totally understand it too.
It's not my favorite genre of movies. I like Blair Witch Project, but like,
Because like even that Slender Man movie I have down there, it was $3 for a reason.
yeah,
It was a found footage. Like I get
I like Marble Hornets better.
Like
honestly.
I get if
Marble
it's-
Hornets is really goofy though, man.
Oh, it gets goofy. Oh, it's fucking silly.
Fucking, he's uploading the video in the hotel, and the camera's facing towards him while he's recording and uploading at the exact same time with the same camera. And it's pointed exactly towards his door, so you can see anyone walking in, but he's too focused on his computer.
Yeah.
But
See Slenderman mooning him in the background.
No, it was the fucking Sarah character, whatever it is, one of the followers.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
But like, I get it. If it's a documentary, then that's not where my mind is at. My mind's like, all right, this is something that happens. It's real footage. It's a documentarian. So that's gonna make more sense to me.
Okay.
Which kind of worked with the Slender movie because that's what it portrayed itself to be. It was a mockumentary, basically.
Yeah.
But if you go into something that's like The Devil Inside or Paranormal Activity, or I think they tried to do it with one of the Insidious movies and parts of it,
I think so. Yeah.
or the Conjuring universe, something.
The Conjuring, I think they did it for a little bit, but then Insidious, I think they did have a scene where they had like the body cams and shit.
But yeah, every time I
I
see
think
that,
that's part 2.
Yeah, part 2 where they were trying to catch the ghost.
Where it was the dad.
The woman in black, right?
Again, I
Yes.
think it was the dad was like still stuck in the dimension, so he's still trying to figure his way out.
Yeah,
It's like-
yeah, and they brought the cameras into the dimension or something like that.
Yeah, because it was like the first movie was the second movie was happening right in between the first
The
movie.
first movie was figuring out that the sun was haunted, but then they realized they didn't figure out
Yeah.
which sun was
Well,
haunted.
that's what I'm saying.
it
'Cause
was
the
carried
second,
by the dad.
That's what I'm saying, because the second movie was happening exact same time as the first movie was happening.
Right.
If I remember correctly.
Yeah, it picked up immediately after the first movie where dad went into the zone.
Yeah. It was like immediately after or some shit.
But yeah, every found footage movie, fucking hate it. Found footage, it's so easy, you could call it anything and just be like, oh, boom.
So what's your opinion on Cannibal Holocaust then?
Cannibal Holocaust is something that was done completely different with a different intention. It's meant to almost be kind of what a mockumentary, documentary style was,
Okay.
but it was meant to be like shock rock. It was meant to be something to fuck with you mentally. And if you go in there thinking you're gonna get sick, you're gonna get sick.
Fair. Okay.
It was a movie that tried to push that on you. It knew what it was. And it excelled at what it was because they had to go to court and prove everybody was still fucking alive.
Yeah. I mean, all the animal deaths on screen were fucking real.
You know what's
The pig, the monkey, the fucking tarantula, the turtle, the snake, I think there was a snake.
Something, I don't know, but who gives a shit about the damn snake?
Apparently Friday the 13th didn't.
Well, see, you know what this is actually making me think of? District 9. You said mockumentaries. Like, you know what?
I actually kind of liked District 9.
District
Yeah,
9.
because
It's a realistic portrayal of like what we would do with aliens.
Well, that the whole time you're watching it, especially when I was watching the whole thing, it's like I never caught. I was like, oh, it's like a fake documentary on this dude who everyone's talking about. And I think it's like halfway through the movie, they say something different. You're like, wait, what's going on? Wait, what's happening to this guy? And it's like, oh, everyone sees him as a terrorist. It's like, I thought he was just normal and everything. And it's like, you're seeing the perspective, like how the world viewed him as you're like living through the current events as how he got to the end of the movie.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, that's a really interesting take on it.
Doesn't he turn into one of them? At the
Yeah,
end or something like
Does
that?
he get scratched or bitten by
I think it was
one?
like the blood got on him as he got like a scratch or something.
Yeah,
like
He got like mutated and
he
turned into
got-
like
yeah,
a blonde,
infected.
because
essentially.
the alien was like, "Oh, send me back." He's like, "Oh, I'll come back in like 300 years." He's like, "That's not the deal you made with me." He's like, "Well, I don't have the technology with me because our ship is down here. I need to go back to the mothership." So he never did get the cure. So the only way the girlfriend sort of knows how he's still alive is that his favorite pastime was making origami, like
He keeps
birds
on
or
making
something
like
that.
birds, yeah.
Yeah, and it's like the whole thing was like it was the whole movie actually wasn't. Well, the movie was revolving around him, but the recorded footage was actually based on this one dude trying to figure out what happened to this guy. And he finds an alien doing the exact same origami. He's like, I found him. It's him.
Like that's fucking him.
Yeah, exactly. It's like that's an interesting take on a movie.
Like,
and that goes back to the whole thing like with the fly, how it's like it's slowly like transmogrifying his whole body into this different thing.
Yeah.
And also, coincidentally, it kind of looks like the Jeff Goldblum's The Fly.
Honestly,
a little bit
about it. Yeah.
But see, that in itself is exactly what I'm talking about. Kind of like how Cloverfield was a big budget found footage movie. It was the same kind of thing as District 9. It was a documentary with a big budget that was made to be something that's not real.
Yeah.
Which made it really work. Plus, the movie was fucking awesome.
I do like Cloverfield a lot. What did you feel about the sequels that came out that weren't supposed to be sequels, but they kind of transmogrified them into?
We're talking about like Chappie and Elysium?
No, I think
like 10 Cloverfield Lane and
10
the Cloverfield Effect.
Oh, you're talking about sequels to Cloverfield.
Like where they established this new Cloverfield, like
The Cloverfield paradox was retarded.
because wasn't that supposed to be explaining like a multi-dimensional sort of thing that was going on?
What, on Cloverfield Lane?
Not Cloverfield. Well, there's that, but like that's like another universe because the Cloverfield paradox, I believe, explains that universe is separate from the Cloverfield universe, and there's different alien invasions going on at the same time or something like that. I didn't get the fucking show. I think it was a show.
Because wasn't the whole point of 10 Cloverfield Lane was that the fact that like no one can figure out if we can trust one another?
It's like John Goodman is basically like, everyone straight down in the basement. Everyone straight down in the
Well, no,
basement.
because wasn't the whole point of the movie was that like no one could trust who was a real person because they let like one person in like a little bit later and they don't know if like that was like the alien or not. Well,
I think so,
But also
yeah.
not knowing what the aliens even looked like.
It's mistrust, and then like John Goodman's a fucking asshole because like he won't let anyone out, and then the fucking kids try to get out, and then they end up doing so, and then John Goodman's like no, and then yeah, like no, and then they get out and they realize like the whole land has been ravaged by fucking aliens, and it's just like that's the twist, that's the connection to Cloverfield.
Yeah.
Because I think in the original cut it's just supposed to end like as soon as they get out. So you're not supposed to know. It's supposed to be like a.
No, didn't the movie end like after the like under the bridge and they got found in the original Cloverfield? It's been forever since I've seen the original one.
No, it ended after the helicopter got hit.
Okay,
Because when they get picked up, the kaiju, I'm going to call it the kaiju.
Yeah, no, yeah.
Her name is Clover.
Her name is Clover, and she's beautiful.
Her name is Clover.
I like the design for the alien. It's cool.
Her name is Clover. Last name Field. Get it right.
I love the.
Matt Reeves actually said he called her Clover.
Okay, fair.
Okay.
I like the fact that it's a baby, so that's not even as big as it gets. But the movie ended as like it's all super foggy or smoky or something like that. You can't see the monster very well, and then you see the last minute, like you see the full frame of it, and then it fucking knocks the helicopter out, and then like the camera cuts out because it wrecks. So the main characters are dead at that point.
Right. And you know what this does make me think of? Back to a smaller indie thing that happened not so long ago. Analog horror. I think some analog horror
I was
does
just
very
gonna
well.
say that with like the found footage thing and everything.
Was it like Channel 53, whatever that was?
Channel. Oh, 1 second.
I think it was like Channel 53.
Channel
whatever.
54.
Channel 54, yeah, where it's like
Have you watched any analog horror?
Sounds familiar.
there's some decent ones. It's usually like a bunch of like YouTube videos. And it's like
Or
small
like the
YouTube
Mandela Effect or something like that. The what was the one that you're really into?
it's so off the charts because it's got so many different
It's so
universes going
weird,
on.
but like reading about it's so interesting.
I can't remember what it's called now, but it's Mr. Manticore. That's the guy who makes all that stuff.
Mr. Manticore. It's called. Oh,
Is he
what the
fucking up?
fuck?
He's-
Wendy Goon does a lot of shit about it.
You fucked me up because you said Mandela catalog. It's
I'm
the
sorry.
Monument Mythos.
There we go. It's basically establishing like over history. There's like a branching timeline or something like that someone's exposing.
So what it
This
is?
guy named Mr. Manticore is like,
no, hold on. Because how it is when it first started is that it's this alternate universe thing, right? It's like different things are happening. It's like you actually have like a Statue of Liberty walking around, fucking killing people and all this shit. You actually have like all these weird different events. You have all these fucking weird things.
You have the Lady Justice from New York, basically fucking
Yeah,
people
you
up.
have these weird fucking fucking black tar things coming out of each like monument statue. You have like these fucking trees that teleport people to different universes and all this. It's very weird in the sense that people are making analog horrors, but it's also like an ARG where it's like there's like all these like little small hints that you're supposed to follow or like go along with and like try to piece together this big puzzle. But then there's shit where it's like, well, I was bringing up with Channel 54, where it's like something weird and it's like, I don't get it. It's like, then it turns to don't trust the fucking moon. And then like it just gets weirder and weirder, and you just keep
It
following.
could be like the most innocuous thing. It's just like the moon's not like what it seems, or something like that.
The moon is breathing.
The moon blinked or something like that.
No, it's like the moon is breathing, and you see all
Yeah.
this like air current getting sucked into this hole, and it turns out it was just a giant egg the whole time. It's
Yeah.
like, Jesus. Yeah, that'd be fucking terrifying. Because your only choice is either worship it or you're gonna get fucking like destroyed somehow, like instantly by not believing in the moon.
Was that one the Mandela effect, or was that Channel 54?
54. Channel 54.
Mandela effect is about like having a doppelganger, essentially, right?
Dude, Mandela effect's. Oh wait, the Mandela effect. That's basically literally hell on Earth. It's
Yeah.
actual demons on Earth.
Oh yeah, it's like where Satan was Jesus the whole time, or something like that.
Yes, Satan was Jesus the whole time.
Okay.
Fuck
But
that.
but I think what it actually is too, because I could be wrong, because there's not enough pieces out of the puzzle yet. The dude in the black hoodie, I think he's the original Jesus.
Okay.
The dude in the black hoodie, because the character you're following the whole time, I think his name is Alex. Which is funny enough. I think the guy who makes it, his name is Alex Keister. It's not him. It's not like his.
That's
it's not
special
like,
face.
Yeah, it's not his self-insert. But I think what it is
His self-insert OC, I am Jesus.
because his whole thing, because the whole thing that was the big twist that I didn't get until I was watching someone break it down was that it was like DMV or whatever. It was some medical condition. Basically, it's like, oh, only 7% of like kids who are exposed to like the TV being on, which is where the demons are coming from.
Isn't it like a high frequency pitch that they can't
No,
watch it or something?
no. It's where like the footage is like showing all of those weird faces and everything.
Oh, it's like hallucinations coming from the static or something like that.
No, it's like literal demons coming from the TV, and they're taking the children.
Oh, the disease is fake.
To shade.
No, like the actual disease is part of the story.
No, the disease isn't fake. This is what people call it because this is how they can only describe it, right?
Okay.
And this thing, all the kids who've been attacked by watching the TV at a certain time because the demons are traveling through a frequency, right?
Mm.
Only 7% of them survived the attack.
Oh,
When
okay.
the
All right.
puzzle piece just came out, was like none of them survived. The 7% who survived are the doppelgangers who don't remember being doppelgangers.
Oh shit. Okay.
Which is where a lot of pieces come in place in Alex, where it's like, you don't remember, do you? And it's like, there's a lot of lost demons out there who don't remember their demons. That's why they aren't affected by this whole psychological terror attack, because it's like, they are one, but they don't remember.
So that's the basic gist of like these certain stories of like ARG in general, because ARG is what was it? It's what does it stand for? It's analog horror.
ARG is augmented reality game. Right.
So it's a game. It's like you
See,
get one clip, you can make theories about it, and then the next clip will come and just like, oh, there's more to the story
See,
now.
but that's
kind of like
the-
how Five Nights at Freddy's started out.
But see, that's the thing. An augmented reality game with analog horror is the Mandela catalog. Because there's small snippets, there's small little websites you have to go through, all these little other pieces that you can try to figure out, or like these other little things. So it's also a game you can play.
Almost like Mystery Flesh Pit as well.
Which is, exactly, right? It's an augmented reality game. But something that's just an analog horror is something like the Mandela catalog.
Okay.
Because there's no ARG to it. Because you're just
Think about what-
you're
what's
watching
the
the story unfold.
I'm trying to find a receipt.
Oh shit.
Sorry,
What is it?
Because Mom sent me a text saying that the jersey doesn't completely fit Dad.
Oh shit.
And I'm trying to remember if they even gave us a receipt, because that's when
Did you check those boxes?
I
Because
think
that's
there
when
was
the
like a
electric was
handwritten one at least.
like, yeah, I found the handwritten one. That was right here.
That should be good enough, shouldn't
Did you
it?
look in the Dairy Queen box right there? There should be a lot of receipts in
Yeah, I just looked through all those.
there. Okay.
But in general, the ARG genre, I think, is coming up as far as like a more popular genre for like found footage and shit.
No,
Like that.
analog horror is the big thing.
Analog horror,
See,
sorry.
ARG is a very small sub-genre that people like to do. with analog horror, because analog horror right now is the big catch.
Analog horror is basically like the video format and everything, like
Exactly.
the found footage essentially.
Exactly, and that was kind of the whole point of bringing it back, where it's like analog horror is like this old found footage that's been found like on old CRT TVs, things,
Or
which
like
I'm
some
assuming is
information
kind
that
of like
certain people didn't know about or something like that.
exactly, which was what I was trying to point it back to, which I think that's the whole point of Blair Witch, right? Is this old found footage of like someone just found.
Like they found this footage in the woods or something like that, and like these people have all gone missing. Like everyone on camera's gone missing, and these are like the last moments that were recorded of them or something like that.
That's how
it's
Blair
set up
Witch
like
is, right?
that essentially.
Kyle, I'm assuming
The what?
the Blair Witch. I'm assuming that's how that works.
Yes.
Yeah, and that's what I was trying to bring it up to, which I think also some people do really well, which is with analog horror, is something like that. Right, I think Channel 54 is a pretty good example of one. Even though they drop one thing really fast, which is the fucking monster that's just out in the woods, they just drop that really fast.
Yeah.
But they focus it on the moon, which is the whole point why that monster's there in general.
Yeah.
I wouldn't say Mr. Manticore is a good one for ARG or for analog horror.
That's more of like diving into a fucking weird ass story.
It's this guy making this whole weird multiverse thing where it's like not everything's connected, but all this shit's happening in different universes. He just wants to tell so many weird stories. That's all it is.
Like the fact that one weird thing that he put into his story is that James Dean becomes the president at one point instead of JFK, and then literally lives through like the 80s or something like that.
Yeah.
Like he lives super old for some reason, and then
Because James
he's
Dean,
written off as like the devil at one point.
because he actually is the devil.
He actually is like Satan.
James Dean is actually the devil, like
Yeah.
literally. Yeah.
It gets weird.
And
It's
then there's
fucking
another
weird.
universe called the Nixon verse where Nixon actually was God the whole time.
Oh,
And
yeah,
he
that's
dished,
right.
He dished one of his other realities and all that. Like it's this guy wanting to tell just a bunch of different stories, which was very odd in a sense. But he does.
Then you have that Mr. Manhattan looking dude, or Dr. Manhattan looking fucker that came out of the water tower, and he's just like, I don't know his fucking situation.
Water Tower.
Or
the
the Silver Surfer looking fucker.
Oh no, that's like that. That's that new story that's going on. That's not part of the Nixon verse.
Oh, it isn't?
That's what the Trinity desk. Where it's like the government's having like all these billions of weird projects going on.
Jesus Christ. Okay.
So one dude got nuked and like he's invisible. He's also like 90 feet tall.
Stop keeping up. I'm
It's-
sorry.
He's got such weird, bizarre stories.
Jesus.
He just wants to tell stories.
Fair.
But that's what I say. Like that's not a good analog horror. The one that always freaks me out is Alex Keister's, the one with the Mandela catalog.
Yeah. Yeah.
That one just freaks me out. The whole concept of like demons are just on Earth. They faked being God this whole time. So every Christianity, every Catholic church and all that is like, oh, they're actually just praising the devil.
Because I think you missed that part when you were in the bathroom. Like the Mandela effect, the Mandela catalog is all about basically what if Satan faked being Jesus the whole time.
What if like I think it was supposed to be like during like was it Paradiso? Where that is?
Oh, you mean the Dante story?
I'm trying to think. It's not Paradiso.
Dante's
It's
Paradiso, Dante's Inferno, Dante's
who I forget. Lucifer, right? The first angel who fell.
Yeah. Oh, you're talking about Paradise Lost?
Paradise Lost, right? It was like, what if like during that whole first arc, Satan actually just won, and just faked being Jesus the whole time. So everyone's praising the wrong God, and he's giving all these wrong instructions, so he can try to lead more demons onto Earth, because he thinks Earth is the perfect paradise to try to rule over, or whatever. Right.
I mean, then you just got Jehovah's Witnesses because they believe that the Earth is already hell.
And then we bring it back to Hercules. That's what Hades does.
Hercules!
That's what Hades does, baby.
That's what Hades does, baby. It's fighting a grizzly bear that fights like a gorilla.
Exactly.
Jesus Christ. So, analog horror in general is just like, it's a good horror genre, but I think it's too new. It still needs a leg to get up on.
It's still too new, but at the same time, it has a lot of potential of people making.
I'm not giving it anything
right.
less, but
It's people making interesting stories, and it's a different take on like something like the Blair Witch Project. Instead of something like people are like, oh, I found this found footage, and it's like it's just a witch in the woods. People are going like, there's like these weird alternate things happening in the world, but we just don't know about it.
yeah.
And I think that's where analog horror actually comes in as a good idea.
Where it's like it plays into the real world, but it puts in fantastical elements that people may not have known about, or they were like underplayed for so long because they were hidden away from the public.
Yeah. And then I think there's some bad analog horror where I think the fucking that Five Nights at Freddy's one, I forget what it's called, Where it was like
You know what? I didn't hate that one too much. But
it wasn't terrible, but I think the mixed media fucking ruined it. 'Cause it ended up looking like a really shitty Roger Rabbit.
oh yeah, oh god,
Because you had like
it did look like Roger Rabbit.
So the whole thing was okay. Make sure if your whole screen was black, but you had a flashlight pointing around it, and that's your source of light. You had JPEG of real people standing there, and then like drawings of the fucking robot monsters, and it's like it looks so off-putting and weird. Because you have like all these real settings, but then you have like these fucking drawn monsters. I don't think that was good, and that was not a good analog horror.
It's like back in the day when people were making their fucking Halo machinimas, and they would just commission like someone to draw them a brute infected by the flood, and then it's just like literally the drawing on screen in their fucking machinima.
Yeah, it was a fucking Newgrounds video. That's what it was.
Yeah.
It was like, yikes.
It was a Serpillo video.
Yeah. Jesus
It was the Ooba Scoopas video. Or Dooba Scoopas, there we go.
Yeah, Jesus getting slapped as a JPEG. Yep. So I think that's one of the same things to bring it all back. Is like there's also another analog horror is still a new franchise or a new like area potentially to tap, but it's still an easy way to fuck up anything.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Because they've shown that shit can fuck up really bad.
Because there's some analog horrors people are just making just so it's more so just the shock factor, just to basically just get clicks.
Yeah.
Right. But there's only some people out there who want to make like a really compelling story. It's like, what's happening here?
And then a skeleton popped out.
Oh, that was a jump scare. God damn it. Yeah.
I wouldn't be too opposed to showing Kyle some of the analog horror, but we would definitely have to do that after Prettykitty gets to bed. Because she's pretty much in a ball right now.
Well, are you working tomorrow, or is tomorrow your day off from John?
Dude, I have like a full week off, dude.
That doesn't explain things to me. Do you have Tuesday off?
Yes.
Okay, fine. I can understand why you're still awake.
Yep.
Throw in the gulag.
Same with me.
Alright.
I got Tuesday off too.
Oh, fucking
But
cool.
let's come to a conclusion first. Are we like...
Because how long has this one been going?
Probably 3 hours.
It's probably been a minute. Well, you're not wrong.
let me see. Where's the time?
Usually
You can read this better than I
It's
can.
usually down on the
Top
bottom of
left.
the date.
Almost 3 hours. 2.5 hours.
2.5 hours.
I
Okay.
think we should call it.
So where should we really put this?
You didn't put out what you think is the easiest horror and
easiest horror.
Easiest cop-out horror.
Oh god.
That makes it like just a terrible.
Cop out horror. I don't like when horror goes.
slashers. Anyway, no, fuck.
It kind of leads into that a little bit when
it's
the
not wrong.
villain is like so overt and so angry and so like. I mean, it goes into like he's supposed to be human, but then he's like this big old monster that essentially can be killed, but he's like unstoppable at the same time.
Michael Myers.
Along the lines of Michael, but like,
Candyman.
what was his? Kane Hodder played him in Hatchet.
Oh my fucking god.
RoboCop.
Robocop.
But do you get what I'm saying with
Victor
that?
Crowley.
Victor Crowley, there we go. When it gets into that territory, it just kind of takes me out of it. Because, like,
I saw this comic a while ago where it was like
Everyone's just trying to recreate Jason, like what I was saying.
essentially, yeah, where everyone there was this comic I read a while ago
Excuse me.
by this artist I really like, and he was saying like good horror isn't loud, it isn't unstoppable. Well, it's unstoppable, but like
Well, no,
it's not loud, it's not big, it's not like big muscly and fucking like out to get you straight away. It's thin, it's frail, it's easy to kill, but it keeps coming back.
Right, and see, and that's what to bring it back just slightly, really fast. That's why I freak out about the Mandela catalog. Someone who grew up a Christian is like that freaks me the fuck out.
It's the little things. It's little things. It's subtlety. That's what that comic was trying to get at. It's just like if it's in your face, it's just like, oh fucking demons! Demons are coming to get your ass!
Well, not that, but also there's all these
Demons
demons.
are coming to fuck your butthole!
No, you asshole! Stop talking about buttholes for 1 second. I was gonna say,
Sorry.
all these demons that are faking being humans. That freaks me out.
That's- yeah.
Because half the time you can tell that they're really fake because they look so fucking off-putting because they don't look real. And that's the biggest problem because it's just like how the state of that that demon is that fucks up the body they're trying to host. Mm-hmm. And that's what freaks me out.
Right.
Which kind of brings it back to like something like Smile, right? Where it's like they try to take over a body, but the physical form looks so fucked up that it's just like whoa.
I don't think you watched Halloween Ends. Did you watch Halloween Ends?
Yes, I was there.
Fucking cherry blossoms.
The same look he had when he was talking to Jamie Lee in the store, just kind of zoned out like cherry blossoms. I just shit my pants.
He keeps doing that. He keeps on getting me.
Cherry blossoms.
Cherry blossom, Jamie.
But yeah, because I think you're right. Because something like the Mandela catalog isn't all loud jump scares, and I think that's what it solves.
Yeah, there is a few like loud moments, but
Yes.
they're not like the main horror.
Because like even one of the freakiest parts is like when you hear the monster just run up to the camera, it's just staring at the camera. It's like it's not doing anything. It's just looking at the camera because it knows whoever's watching it is recording. So
Right.
it's trying to fuck with whoever's watching the recording. So then another demon can get in there,
Fuck that.
right? And that's the whole point. It's like when you get more into it, it's like, oh, every demon's trying to send in more demons to fuck with you.
Or
To
it's
take
like
over your body.
or it's like the scenes where it's like security camera footage, and then like the lights go out, and then all you see is just like the form in the corner.
Just subtle as hell. Just subtlety.
It's just the shape. They don't do shit, and it's like a 30-second clip,
Yeah.
and they're just standing there. Fucking.
Or God, I keep talking about Mandela Catalog because it freaks me out. It was like the kid's like, oh, there's the man in the fucking hallway, and then like, I think like probably like 3 minutes later, it shows that hallway. It's like, man, it is fucking dark as hell. It's like, yeah, you could probably see anything come out of that fucking thing and be scared because it's literally just a pitch black hallway.
But yeah, let's get
coming
back
out
to.
coming out of the pitch black hallway, he saw me with my foot and one pant leg and a trident by the door waiting for him.
I'd freak out.
I ran over to him just trying to fucking get over it.
I think I'd over to tackle him.
Oh, I had the trident in my hand too, and I'm like, oh god, he's coming.
You're not real. I'm not scared anymore. I'm not afraid anymore.
No, that's the true horror.
Shirt was in a titty knot. I was in torn up boxers. I'm like,
I'm here for you, boy.
I'm here for
Oh shit, he jumped. Oh fuck.
Oh no.
I've come for your pickle.
I've come for your pickle. Oh god, he's coming.
He's giving me the whole sandwich. I'm coming.
I think we should leave it all.
I was about to say, that's a good way to stop.
So all in all, overt horror, not good. Subtle horror, very good. Goodbye, everybody.